Welcome to Nimin Live, the #1 place on the internet to learn about YouTube, network with other content creators, and have an awesome time doing it. My name is Nick, and today I'm answering your YouTube questions. So if you have a question about anything it is that you're doing on YouTube, there's a form that I put in the description of this stream that you can see right now. If you're watching this on a desktop computer and you have the new version, you might have to click out of the chat in order to actually see the form, but then you can hit the option to bring the chat back. If you are watching this on the replay, I do want to let you know that we add timestamps to these live streams so that you can quickly and easily find the parts of the video that matter the most to you. In order to find those, you can just skip along the bottom of the video player right now, or you can hit the video description to jump directly to where it is that you want to go. In addition to that, I encourage you just to sit back and listen because, you know, when it comes to the questions that we asked or answered during the stream today, it's all driven by the questions that people put into the form that's down in the description. So we don't really know what we're going to talk about. We just, you know, talk about the questions as they come in. So because of that, you might learn a bunch along the way just by sitting back and throwing in some headphones or, you know, listen to this in the background while you're doing some other stuff. But with that out of the way, I do want to let you know that my brother D is not going to be here today. He's a little bit under the weather. So let's go ahead and wish D a, you know, quick recovery right now. He's a little bit under the weather. So hope you get better soon, D. And I also want to let you know that this stream is brought to you by TubeBuddy, which is the #1 tool for YouTube content creators. TubeBuddy will help you optimize your videos for search. TubeBuddy will help you test your thumbnails, but they also have a thumbnail analyzer tool that you can use for your videos. They have an AI insights tool with their A/B testing for the thumbnails. They help you with a keyword explorer. So if you are somebody that does search targeted content on YouTube, then their search explorer is awesome. But basically, when it comes to TubeBuddy, it is a tool that you should have as part of your tool set, but you can try it for yourself by going to tubebuddy.com/Nimin. The second, or co-sponsor, I should say, of the stream today is StreamYard. And when it comes to StreamYard is the live streaming platform that I use to stream this every single Saturday. Works super easy. Once you set up your stream, you just enter the studio. This is actually going to bring us into the stream that you're looking at right now. But you enter the studio, you can see right here, you get a little preview. You can make sure your microphone's working and all that, which I'm going to go ahead and just mute right now. And then you enter the studio, and then you actually see everything that's going on. We're going to go down to infinity. But you can see the chat over on the right-hand side. You can add, you know, different banners and stuff like that to show up on the screen. You can see right there. You can add a bunch of, pardon the echo there, I got it covered, but you can also, you know, add like custom graphics to the screen. You can add videos. You know, we might play some videos here during this live stream we're going to see. You can add custom background graphics like you can see right here. That's the graphic that's kind of showing up that you can see kind of down underneath and above my my video right now. And you can also add background music, which is pretty cool. So for example, I have this one. So if we have a problematic person come in, I can hit this and go,
mode alert, mode alert, mode alert, mode alert, mode alert.
Right. So then that notifies the mod that we have, you know, some type of, you know, trouble around that they have to get sorted. But you can try that for yourself if you go to nicknimin.com/StreamYard. That will get me credit if you, you know, if you take that particular path. So make sure that you do check that out so that they can know that this stuff is working over on this side. And I also, really quick, before we get into the questions today, I do want to remind you, and I've got a link to this down in the description too, or you can just go to vidsummit.com. But on September 3rd through the 5th, we have a conference that's coming up in Dallas, Texas. It's called Vid Summit. Mr. Beast is there, Daryl Eves. You know, a lot of content creators that you know, watch on a regular basis. They go there and they share the information that helps them, you know, grow and have audiences and helps them run their businesses on YouTube. But here, this is where, you know, if you are serious about your YouTube channel and you're serious about what it is that you're doing on YouTube, this is the place that you want to go in order to, you know, in order to level things up and network with other content creators that are also doing, you know, similar things that you are, really, that are taking it seriously. But you can try that, or not try it, but you can check out all the information that you need for that at vidsummit.com. And I hope to see you there. Super looking forward to you know, seeing anybody that does end up going there. I think Home Rapid Repair might be going there. I know, I think Doug Hewson is also going to be going as well as, you know, some other people that are hanging out here today as well. So with all of that out of the way, I do want to let you know, if this is your first time here, this is all free thanks to the sponsors that I just mentioned. And because of that, basically all you have to do to get your question answered is put your question in the form that is in the description. If you are watching on the new version of YouTube, it should be visible. If you just close the chat real quick, you should be able to see that link right there. Just click right into that. And then that will take you to the form. It's free, and put in your questions, anything that you want to know about YouTube or anything like that related to making content. If it's video production, if it's something about YouTube specifically, just drop it in the form, and we will go ahead and get it answered on the stream today. But we're going to go ahead and get started here by just saying, I hope everybody's had a great week. Hope that you, enjoyed your week. I know that I've been a little bit, busy. I'm actually working on an app right now that's going to help us be a little bit more efficient when it comes to our YouTube comments. Kind of building that, from the ground up, and it's turning out pretty cool. So super excited to let that out. Still have to apply to, the Apple developers thing and go through the process of getting everything set up to get it all uploaded up there and everything. But I'll be talking about that, as soon as that is ready to rock and roll. But super excited about that. D comes in and says, "Hey everybody, Nick fired me." Oh, that's great. That's great. But yeah, he's sick. Yeah, he's still in here trying to derail, and it just worked. Nice work, D. D is remote working right now on his derailing. So, but anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and just get into the responses, so we can go ahead and start answering your questions and getting everything trying to get this whole party started today. So it's a little bit weird. It's been quite some time now since I've done this, myself here at home. So, missing D, for the streams. I'm sure, everybody here is a regular and that knows D. So, D, wishing you a speedy recovery there as well. So 86th is our very first question. And I need to actually change my view here. Oh no, my form is broken, it looks like. Huh. Here, I'm just gonna refresh the form. Yeah, it looks like some of the drop-down stuff didn't work, or it's broken in some way. Oh no, there we go. Okay. So the channel name is 86. No, it is broken. The drop-downs don't work. That's great. Okay, no problem. So the type of channel is a help channel. The goal of the channel is help chefs get raises, promotions, and to be awesome. And the question is, I'd like to know about adding people to a team and how it works when sharing my channel with contributors. Do you trust them with the account info, or do they submit videos to you and you upload them? How does that all work? Oh, that's a great question. It's actually the first time we've been, I've been asked that particular question. So when it comes to, having people help you with your YouTube channel, you definitely only want to give people access that you trust. And, if you are hiring somebody in that particular case, you can give them limited permissions on your YouTube channel where they can go in and they can see what's going on, but they can't really do anything else. You also have another level of permissions where they can go in, they can upload videos, but they can't change any of the major settings when it comes to the channel. They can't see your monetization, anything like that. It's just, kind of like a bare bones thing to be able to go in there and add videos to your account. So you can do that. If you want to just be extra safe until you get to know somebody, then in that case, having them send them to you into like a Dropbox or something like that, and then you upload the videos from there. That would be a good first step while you're, kind of onboarding somebody to work with you, and before you confirm that they're going to be working with you for a while. In that particular case, it just ensures that you are, being safe when it comes to, your account. But in terms of, those permissions, in order to find them, all you have to do is when you go into your YouTube channel, you're going to see down in the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to see a little settings icon. When you click on that settings icon, it's going to show you, or a little box is going to pop up. In that box, you're going to see something called permissions. If you click on that, then you go in there and you can click add, or invite, which I think is in the top right-hand corner. Click on that. And when you do that, then it should have a little form that you can put the email address in, and then you can hit send. And then when you do that, they are going to get an email. And then once they get that email, then they can, accept that. They can accept that particular invite. Hold on really quick. Okay. So next up on our list, and because I'm like a little bit out of the routine here. I forgot to open up one of my apps that I use here for this live stream. So give me 1 second. I'll just kind of do that in the background while I'm answering questions. So the next question that we have is question number 2. And by the way, just a heads up, if you are a channel member, we're going to be doing a live stream this week. It's going to be on YouTube, but it's going to be, I'm going to start with, just giving feedback, all that stuff, like we used to do. But I'm not going to do it on a queue. It's going to be, for the people that are hanging out in the live stream. So as soon as I get that scheduled, I'm going to post the information for that in the Discord, and I'm going to post it in the Facebook group as well. So if you are somebody that's interested in that and you're a channel member, just make sure that you do keep an eye out for that. I'll also post it as a members only post in my community feed as well. Tango in the Kitchen is our next question. They have a cooking channel. The goal of the channel is to eventually get monetized and also to share my experience in learning to cook or cooking new recipes. The question, good morning or evening, Nick and Dee. The question is, can I create a paid course where the subject is different than the niche of my channel and promote that course on my channel? This course will promote it at the end of my videos. Technically, you can, because there's going to be a certain percentage of your viewers that may, qualify for that. But you can promote anything that you want off of your YouTube channel. But the thing that you want to keep in mind is if you are promoting stuff off of your YouTube channel, just make sure that whatever it is that you're, promoting does, reflect well on you. But if it's a course, you put together the course, all that stuff, then you're going to be fine. One thing that I would not do is I wouldn't do like a full-blown ad at the end of your video, because it's more important to get people to your end screen instead. Somewhere in your video, you might want to just, make a quick mention of it. Maybe not all the way at the end, but, a little bit into where you're like, hey, just really quick, by the way, and then just do like a quick, as fast as you can get through it, blurb about your course, and let them know that there's a link down in the video description. And one thing to keep in mind is, just in case you end up changing the course later, in case you end up closing that course down to start a new one based on what you learned from this course, something like that, then in that particular case, you might want to be careful about what you burn into the video, because 3 years from now, is everything going to be the same for that, right? So you got to be careful in that regard. But you can absolutely promote anything you want in the content, as long as it complies with, YouTube community guidelines and YouTube terms of service. Yeah. And like Slavgard's manga says, sponsor yourself. Yeah. That's pretty much the, the move there in that particular situation. Next up, yeah, it has. It's been a while, Jerry. Yeah, so I'm just wanting to hop back on that horse so that I can, just start, kind of fulfilling that a little bit, and kind of get back in that routine so we can, make that a habit again, and all that good stuff. So World of KRS is our next channel here. It's an art channel. The goal of the channel is to build a community. The question is, so I first want to say thank you to you and to everyone else that's helped me with your advice. As of today, my most recent video, which I rank art Discord server, sits at 31 views with a 54% average view duration, as well as 20.8% average percentage viewed in that video. I slyly let people know to join my Discord server as well, and made a community post about joining it up, but it feels as if I'm missing something, like I'm just not fully on there having an engaging community. I haven't let people know to interact in the comments as well occasionally. Any tips or advice on what I'm missing so that I can build my community like how you do with the Illuminati? So here's the thing. When you are trying to move people from one platform to another, it can be challenging. So the problem that you're working with right now is that your video sits at 31 views. So when it comes to selling anything in any capacity, so just to give you some reference here, I've been doing internet marketing for like a decade now. I'd say for, a little bit longer actually than a decade now. I did sales before I did that. So I had a company where we sold stuff door to door. And I had a commercial cleaning service where I did commercial sales there as well. So, or corporate sales, whatever you want to call it. So when it comes to, I've also done, some other things as well, but those are, some good examples in terms of the diversity of the experience. So one thing that you learn when you're selling anything, if it's digitally, one, you have the advantage that you can get in front of a lot of people really quickly versus going door to door, or, calling people up on the phone where, you have to talk to one person at a time, and you have to exchange your time in order to talk to those people. When it's a digital thing, it's completely different, because you can talk to a lot of people in a very short amount of time, and you can even be talking to people while you're asleep, which is great. Not you specifically, but your content and everything that you're putting out on the internet or your ads or whatever, it's basically interfacing with people while you're asleep, which is a huge win. So when it comes to getting people to go from, one thing to another, you have to look at it in terms of like, okay, well, if I only have 31 people that are interacting with my content right now, there's not actually enough people even interacting with my content yet to even gauge if this is going to be something that's going to work yet. So because of that, I recommend first, before you're trying to get people to leave YouTube and go over to Discord, I recommend first that you build up the channel, build up the audience there, start getting, get the content to a competitive level to where you can pretty much count on at least a certain amount of views. And then from there, that's when you start, trying to bring attention to more things. Because right now, if you have 31 views, you need to, have larger numbers in order for those conversions to work out. Now, of course, out of those 31 people, if it's a perfect fit, there might be some people that will cross over. But if you're looking and then you're like, man, nobody's like really going over there, it could be because you need to, hit the scale. So just to put this into perspective. So when it comes to the Discord, so I've actually mentioned, so when we first opened our Discord a long time ago, I had a lot of kids interacting with my content. When I mentioned the Discord at that time, tons of people went over there, joined the Discord. We reopened it recently because I was like, hey, this is going to be good, place for, people to, just kind of, interact and talk about YouTube. And when I did, not a lot of people went over there. I didn't promote it hard, but I think I mentioned it in like a couple of live streams, and not a lot of people went over there. So we still use it for channel members, but because of that, though, because the interest wasn't there, I ended up just shutting down the public area of the Discord. So now it's members only. So because of that, just keep in mind when it comes to the amount of people you're in front of, and then them converting over into anything that you're trying to bring them attention to, that you definitely need more numbers. So I would definitely work on that part right now. And then once you start hitting those, those consistent view counts, then that's going to give you more to work with. And since you're in front of more people, as long as they're the right people, just based on scale itself, you're going to be able to convert a certain percentage of those people over. Great question. Next on our list, we have K-Skis. K-Skis, they have a anime games rants and challenges channel. The goal of the channel is to make content. The question is, so I just got done yesterday with gathering the clips for a video, which I play Streets of Rage 4 without dying. I've never done a challenge like this, so I need advice. Is it okay if I make a few edits for the video, for example, if I die at a certain part for the sake of pacing, I time skip back to that part, so that way my audience won't be bored in a way? So I'm not fully understanding your question. It seems like you're asking if it would be okay if you die in a part of the video and then you basically just respawn, essentially. Yeah, so for that, if the whole challenge of the video, as long as I'm understanding this correctly, is that you're trying to play it without dying. So then if you do die, then I would think you would need to start over if the whole goal is to make it through it without that, right? Because it sounds like what you're trying to do is you're trying to edit the video in a way that misleads people into thinking that you didn't, when in reality you did. So because of that, I would actually try to be authentic with that if you're trying to do it, and actually try to do it. And the reason that can be helpful is because when you edit it, then you're just trying to kind of force something that didn't actually happen. But when you go through and you're actually trying to do it and you're recording every single time you try, then in that particular case, those emotions are going to be attached to every time that you try. So, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, and you're going to get really close and you're going to be like, oh, here it comes. And, the viewer is going to be able to feel all of that. So because of that, I wouldn't try to, fake your way through that. And if you're just joining us, just as a heads up, we do have a form in the description. If you are watching this, where you can get your question answered. If you are watching this on Twitter, if you go to nickniman.com/ask, then you can find that form there. So that's just an easy path to get to it if you happen to be on Twitter. So next up, we've got Derek's Lawn Rescue. What's going on, Derek? Hope you're doing awesome. They do volunteer lawn care. The goal of the channel is to make some money so I can afford to help as many people as possible. The question is, my video that was uploaded 8 days ago has gone viral for me, 80,000 views on a 1,700 subscriber channel. Man, do I have it in here? I think I do. High five, fist bump. High five, yeah, that's great. High five, fist bump. High five, high five, fist bump. High five, high five. Now everybody's clapping for you. Clapping for you. Yeah. So nice work on the video going viral. So basically, you're saying it still gets 400 views per hour. It says would it be beneficial for me to put a new video from yesterday as the end screen on the viral video to help push traffic to that video? Absolutely, as long as you go into your click-through rate right now for your end screens, because you can see that in your analytics, and you can see, because the end screen that you currently have could be part of what's helping that video do well. Because if people are watching the original video that's doing well, and then they're clicking on the end screen and they're watching another video there, and they're just like watching videos back to back, that can actually help the originating video do better, because it's telling YouTube that not only are people enjoying this video, but a certain percentage of these people are actually clicking on this video, enjoying this one to the end, and then they're clicking on another one and joining that one too. And maybe they keep going even farther. So because of that, I would check that first. If you find that hardly anybody's clicking on it, then in that particular case, you might want to, well, I mean, in that case, you got to think, is it worth it? But two additional things. So first, go into whatever video you have in the end screen and go look at the stats on that one, and then see if you're getting a surge on that one. If you are, this is a better way to do it. See if you're getting a surge on that one. If you are, then you have to make that call and go and look at the retention, and isolate the date range down when you're looking at the retention to when you publish the video that is pushing that end screen, and then just see, how people are responding to that particular video. If you find that people are also making it a decent part through that particular video, then that's where you would just keep that video. However, if you're like, okay, it looks like, one, not a lot of people are even going over to that video in the first place. Maybe it's not a perfect fit for them. And then you can update it to your most recent video. Then in that particular case, it might give you the opportunity to send some of those people over there. But, when you have a video that takes off, one of the things that, I like to do when a video takes off is I just like to let it, go. And the reason for that is because if it's taking off, everything is working as it should be. And when you go in and you try to, change things up a little bit, even though people will still enjoy the content, even though they'll still click on it the same, because you're not messing with any of that. It's just like, you're in there messing with something that's already, it's already doing great. So because of that, just consider all of those things when it comes to making that decision. If you find that, nobody's watching that, next video and they're not clicking on it, then trying to find something that might be more relevant to those viewers might be the move in that case. Let's see here. So next up on the list here, Grief Sucks with Brooke Carlock. Love the channel name. They do educational content. The goal of the channel is sharing my personal grief experiences, as well as educational videos about grief topics. The question is, for the past 2 years, and by the way, if you have a question, make sure you do put it in the form down in the description. But the question is, for the past 2 years, my channel has been solely about grief topics. This past April, I released my first book, which was also grief related. However, now I'm starting to write young adult historical fiction books and would like to start creating an author platform for those. Should I create a separate channel? So that's going to be your call to make. One thing to think about is that if you start running, different channels around all the books that you're making and all the different topics that you decide to make books in that particular case, you could, create a lot of content that you end up having to keep up with if you want to keep all the channels thriving, and you could start creating a lot of extra work for yourself, which is fine if you're willing to do that work. However, I would also just consider like, okay, since I have this one book and it is doing well, should I, just pump everything towards that? Or if you're going to, make the new book, then in that particular case, or the new books, I should say, then I would just think like long term, and I would think, okay, if I'm going to have the channel of the grief related stuff, and I'm going to use that to promote my books, so that means I'm going to have to continually put content up on that channel. Then in that particular case, over the next 5 years, let's just go ahead and get an idea out of the books and everything that we're going to make, so that we can make sure that whatever channels that we're growing around it, so we can make sure that they are, that I can do all the work needed, and then I'm not going to like burn myself out, because not only you're creating content, but you're also creating books plus whatever else it is that you do, in terms of, for work and, your friends and family and all that stuff. So because of that, every new thing that you create that requires your time is going to kind of creep in, on the available time that you have. So because of that, I would just be, just be mindful of how many channels you create, because you do need to maintain each one. Let's hear. The Healing Sound Bass says, what was the name of the grief channel? The grief channel name is the Dr. Vibe Show, is the name of the grief channel. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's not. Sorry, I went too far in the responses there. I think that's the next one. Nope. Derek's Lawn Rescue. Did we not answer Dr. Vibes? Hold on. Oh, Girl Sucks, or sorry, Grief Sucks with Brooke Carlock is the name of the name. I think Google's having a problem with the forms, or maybe something's cached. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, like my number 6 was a response that wasn't there, but now it's number 7. Anyway, Dr. Vibes Show is our next channel here. They do a news, educational, and culture channel. The goal of the channel is to educate, empower, enlighten, and entertain Black people and those who love them. The question is, I'd like to thank you, Indeed, for all your hard work. Your information and sharing is so helpful. When you have a YouTube short that as well, how long should you wait until you post your next YouTube short? So when it comes to short, yeah, you can go ahead and just, post the next one. Like I wouldn't post it right after it, but if you want to wait, half a day or a full day and then post it, then you'll be okay there. But basically when it comes to the short, their system is, just going to be showing that stuff to people anyway. So you're fine posting that short whenever. A lot of shorts also have kind of like a little bit of a lag. So like if you publish it now, it's going to take it a little bit of time to hit anyway. ESL Speaking Corner is our next question. And by the way, if you are just joining us, if you have any questions about YouTube, that's what we're doing today is I'm answering your YouTube questions. So I've got a form down in the description where it's free to put your question there. If you are watching this on Twitter, hey, what's up, Marcus? Nice to see you in here, dude. If you are watching this on Twitter, then in that particular case, you can just go to nickniman.com/ask. Let's see here. So ESL Speaking Corner, did we just do that one? Okay. They do an ESL channel speaking English. The goal of the channel is to help international adults improve their English. And the question is, do you have any advice for language learning channels, in particular English? Absolutely. Study all the other English language channels and see what's working for them, because the core information that you're going to be sharing is the core information that they're going to be sharing as well. So what I would do is I would pull up all of the channels that you are competing with, all the top people in the space, because they've got a huge archive of videos that they've published over a long period of time. Start marking down all the topics that they make videos about, and while you're marking down all those topics, start looking for consistencies across channels. So every time they make videos about this particular topic, they seem to do better than the other videos, and start fulfilling those videos first. And do those in the best possible way that you can. Watch some of the other videos before you make yours, so that you can make sure that you are adding like your own good spin to what it is that they're doing. Read their comment section so you can see if there's anything that was left out or anything that people were kind of left wanting. Do that on the other channels and write it all down and just look for those consistencies, and then just start hammering away at making that content. In your particular case, you can teach differently, but when it comes to the things that people need to know, that's going to be, pretty straightforward. So because of that, I would just, use what people have already done and the path that's already been walked and just follow suit. Okay. Next up on the list here, trying to learn bikes. We've got motorcycle maintenance. The goal of the channel is to grow a successful channel to 100,000 subs in 10 years by 2034. And the question is, hey, Nick, and best wishes to Dee for a speedy recovery. In the analytics tab under estimated revenue, does that figure represent an estimated value before YouTube takes their cut, or is it roughly what the next payout to my channel might be? Thanks in advance for your always insightful advice. So the RPM is technically, what it is that you end up, kind of being left with, so to speak. But keep in mind, like that is just kind of like an idea, like a close estimate, right? So when it comes to the actual payout that you're going to get, it's not going to be an exact reflection of that, because YouTube still has to verify everything and stuff like that. So it's not going to be an exact reflection. So because of that, just kind of use that as like okay, it's around, this ballpark type of thing, and don't look at it as an absolute number that you can count on. Next up, we're cruising through these. Like, we're going to run out of questions here soon, I think, which then I'm just going to have to come up with something else to do. So the question here, or the channel name here, is KG Drifty. KG Drifty. And by something else to do, I just mean like, we'll take him out of chat, or I'm not sure what we'll do. We'll figure it out though. The goal of the channel is to motivate and entertain people, also make a career out of my hobby. And the question is, when looking at your analytics, what are the most important things to look at within your analytics so you can study on what to improve on within your content? Also, are YouTube tags important for others to watch / find your content? So when it comes to the tags, don't worry about tags on your videos. You can, use it. So you can use the box, since it's there. But when it comes to like if it matters or not, according to YouTube, they play a very minimal role. But because they do play a minimal role, that's where you got to say like, well, do I want to try to, tap into that minimal part, right? Since they don't say that it's, not 100%, that it does absolutely nothing. So because of that, since the box is there, just go ahead and fill it out. Just don't spend time on it. That's where like TubeBuddy comes into play, where, they're just going to recommend a bunch of tags to you and you can say, is this relevant to the video? Yes, 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 yes. And then you can move on from there. So you can use it. But I don't look at that like it's going to actually like really help in any substantial way, because it's not. When it comes to the things to look at in your analytics, first, you do want to make sure that everything that you look at, that you're considering the impressions, right? So if you're looking at performance metrics, like click-through rate, average view duration, that kind of stuff, you want to make sure that you are looking at the impressions that you get. So just in case you don't know, an impression on YouTube is when YouTube shows your video to somebody on the platform for more than a second. That's it. So when it comes to when you see that impression, let's say you see 100 impressions, that means that YouTube showed your videos or that particular video to 100 people. So from there, then you're going to get like a click-through rate. So that click-through rate is important because it's saying out of that 100 people, we'll just scale it up to 1,000. So out of that 1,000 people, you have this percentage of people that clicked through. And then that lets you know basically how effective your packaging is. And by packaging, I mean topic, title, and thumbnail, because your topic impacts your click-through rate, your title impacts your click-through rate, your thumbnail impacts your click-through rate, and the autoplay also impacts your click-through rate. So keep that in mind too. But when it comes to that particular metric, it's super important, because if you can't get people to click on your videos, then everything else doesn't matter, right? Because that click is the very first step for, long form content. Now, the next thing that you need to look at is if you are looking at click-through rate, don't look at it at the averaged out view, because if you look at it in the averaged out view, what you're going to see is going to be misleading. So what you want to do is you actually want to go into your advanced mode analytics in your Creator Studio. And in order to find that, you just log into your Creator Studio, click analytics. It's going to be on the left. And then up in the top right-hand side of the screen, you're going to see advanced mode. If you click on that, across kind of like the middle of the screen, you're going to see a little bit up, maybe like the top third of the screen, you're going to see navigation going, a row of navigation going across. So within that row, you're going to see one that says traffic sources. If you click on that, then it's going to show you a report of how people were clicking on your videos, or what, click-through rate that you had based on the different pages of YouTube. That's what traffic sources is. It's basically different ways that people found your video. So within that, you're going to see your channel page, you're going to see subscriptions, you're going to see browse features, which is subscriptions is a part of. Home pages are also a part of that. You're going to see suggested videos, you're going to see external, and then a bunch of other, you're going to see search in there, and then a bunch of other stuff. So when it comes to that, the most important ones, I mean, you can also kind of take some information from the subscriber one too. But if you click into browse, then you're going to see home pages and subscribers in there. And what that tells you essentially is if you are looking at the click-through rate from subscribers, that's just telling you how, your subscribers, what your subscribers think about that particular video. And when it comes to browse, or when it comes to the home pages, I'm sorry, that means that first page when YouTube loads up on a computer, TV, or a phone, right? As somebody sitting there scrolling, that counts as like the home page. So when you are looking at those numbers, the things that you want to keep in mind is, okay, if I have, people that are clicking at a high rate from search, then that means when people are looking for my videos, then it's easy for them to click on my videos, because I'm not competing with anything else really, except for what it is that they're looking for. When it comes to home pages, if you find that you are massively underperforming there, then in that case, that means that, you need some work to do so that you can grab attention. So when it comes to search, the difference here is, so I can explain this, when it comes to YouTube search, people are looking for what it is that you've made. So because of that, it's really easy to convert them. So for example, if you were to walk into Walmart and you're looking for a bottle of Mountain Dew and they have it sitting right there on the counter, and you're like, oh, hey, there's the Mountain Dew I'm looking for. Then in that case, you're going to just grab it, done, you're out of there. Choices, already taken care of, right? Super easy. Even if it's sitting next to, some other flavors. But if you're like, man, I'm really thirsty, I'm just going to, walk into Walmart and hit the grocery aisle over there and just kind of look for something to drink. Then it's a little, it's a little bit different. And on the way over, you got a bunch of other things, a bunch of other products that you're seeing on the way over to the drinks. Once you get to the drinks, you're going to see a bunch of other drinks that are there, things like that. So think of the homepage like that journey, right? So basically, when it comes to the homepage, people aren't actively looking for what it is that you've made. Instead, you have to be that product, right, through your video that grabs their attention from the homepage when they were just logging on, looking for things to be entertained by or looking to learn something or whatever reason it is that they came onto YouTube. So what that means is when you are trying to get attention from the homepage and suggested videos as well, you're competing with, everything that viewer is interested in. So if that viewer is interested in music, you're competing with any music that YouTube's recommending to them. If that viewer watches Mr. Beast, you're competing with him. If that viewer watches, anything on YouTube, you're competing with like all of their favorite content creators as well. So because of that, the game is different when it comes to homepages, because you have to learn how to grab people's attention based around the things that they care about and then pull them into your content from there by making the video about something that is, interesting to as large of amount of people as possible, and then packaging that up through the thumbnail and title in a way that will grab the viewer's attention based on what it is that they care about and then compel them to click through the title, right? That's the idea. And then if you find that you're underperforming in suggested videos, then in that particular case, keep in mind that suggested usually does convert pretty low anyway, but when it, in comparison to the other features, but if you are performing very low there, then one of the things that you can start looking at is like, okay, so if I'm not competing on homepages or I'm not converting on homepages, that means I need to work on being able to grab people's attention, from the homepage topically and through the packaging there. But if I'm not getting good results through suggested videos, that means that I got to start thinking of other things. So for example, I got to start looking at, more of the sizing of the objects in my thumbnail. I got to look at how my title's structured to make sure that before YouTube could possibly truncate it anywhere, anything like that, I got to make sure that I have the most important part of that would matter to the viewer as close to the front of my title as possible before anything gets cut off, right? Like those are the types of things you got to think about when it comes to suggested videos. So it's just different games that you're playing for the different surfaces and or the different pages of YouTube. And when you look in your traffic sources report, it helps you get an idea of how you're competing, right? So another thing when it comes to your traffic sources report is you also get to see how long people watched your videos there too. So because of that, you can also be like, okay, when a viewer comes in from a home page and they have this type of expectation, then, this is about how long they stick around. When somebody comes in from search and they're, needing to solve this problem, well, they stick around for a long time because I'm actually helping them solve that problem. And I'm not trying to just, hold their attention, and entertain them. So it just helps you be able to, get deeper insights into that. So that's an important stat. The next one is your audience retention reports. So when it comes to your audience retention reports, those are also really important because, and what we're talking about right now, by the way, if you are just joining us, is we're talking about stats on YouTube. So for example, if somebody is, in their stats, what should they be, looking at when it comes to their video performance? So the next thing is your audience retention reports. So the reason your audience retention reports are important is because they show you how people are responding to your videos. And they show you how your videos compete against other videos on YouTube of a similar length, which can also be really handy. So an audience retention report, just in case anybody here isn't familiar with that, it is a second-by-second report that we get on any content that we upload to YouTube. So as a part of this, the whole thing with an audience retention report is you can actually see, okay, when somebody comes into a video, right, and it drops down, the viewership is people are just leaving and leaving and leaving, but hey, they stabilize here. And then they, start watching there. I got a flat line here. Maybe I got some dips. Maybe I got some spikes where people rewound, or maybe somebody shared it out at that point or something like that. But anyway, it gives you that report to show you exactly how people are responding to your content, which is amazing because that particular graph is going to help you better understand how to put your content together in a way that is competitive. Now, when you are looking at your audience retention reports, there's also something called compared to other videos. Do you want me to just show you this? I can actually show you some of this if you just want to see it. Maybe that would be an easier way to do this. I would need to log into a different YouTube account, but I can actually like show you if you just want to see some of this. But anyway, like with the audience retention report, you can just click on the drop down, and that drop down it is called compared to other videos, and then that's going to show you how your videos compare against other videos of similar length on the platform. So I'm going to show you guys right here in a second. But first, I'm going to answer this super chat. Oh, sorry, wrong one.
Super chat.
So the super chat here is from Tommy Stig Social Club. Says, hello from North Jersey. Love these shows. Very helpful. I was in your chat yesterday, hoping you would click on my channel for a quick look. Nice work. Hey, thanks. I appreciate that. Thanks for the super chat. We're not looking at channels right now. I might actually look at some later, but right now I'm not looking at any channels on this particular stream. That's what I do those other streams for. So glad that you enjoyed that, and I appreciate the super chat. So, okay, so let me log into a different account here, and then I'll pull this stuff up. So I'm actually going to log into my extras channel, and then you guys can see that one. Let's see here. Let me go down so I can see everything. That's all right. We'll just go in on the manager version. It's fine. Okay, give me 1 second here. So first, let me go into advanced mode analytics. Let me get that window open. Then I'll show you this. And then I'm going to go into this is going to be an old video because I haven't uploaded a piece of video content to this channel in quite some time. But I'm going to go in here and I'll show you this too. Okay, so here we go. iFund Chris, thank you for the super chat, dude. Appreciate it. So here we go. So for anybody that wants to see this type of information and know exactly what it is that we're looking at here. Boom. Okay, so this right here is a video that I published on September 27th of 2021. And actually, hold on, before we open this up, let me go down here. So the audience retention report is this box right here, okay? So here you can see, like right here at the beginning of this, let me get my Tube Spanner sketch tool out. So you can see right here at the very beginning of this, right here, right? Where the viewers were just leaving the video during this part, but then I caught them right here, okay? And then right here, I had a really slow drop off on this particular video over time. And then right here's, where my end screen popped up. So this is super helpful because what this tells me is that this video is actually, kind of performing as normal at the front. But, if there was anything that I could do to, grab somebody's attention, I'd be trying to work on it on this particular part right here in terms of trying to reduce the amount of people that are leaving a video. Another thing is this particular where people are leaving right here. As the video comes to an end screens pop up, like that's a pretty normal thing as well. But here's what I could work on. See how this is just a gradual drop over time? What this means, and I'm going to go into the actual advanced version of this here, but basically this means that over time, people are just kind of losing interest. So if I wanted, and this is all just repurposed content, like this is where I take live stream content and then I just upload it, directly to this channel. So we cut it down and then we upload it to this channel. But basically, with this, since I do have people leaving here, in reality, if I was like, okay, if this was videos that I was, publishing as regular videos and I was trying to fix this, I would start working on like this right here, right? And then after I got that to where this line looked more like this here, then I would start working on this part here, right? And then I would just rinse and repeat that process in sections as I was going across the video, with the understanding that, people do, just kind of lose interest, as they go across, longer videos, especially with educational content. But this is definitely, stuff that you could work on there. So as I go into this though, we have this see more option. Okay. So on this see more option, one of the things that's really cool here is we can see the same graph, right? We can see the same graph here. And because this is old, I don't know if this is going to work. Oh yeah, it does. Okay. So this does work here on this channel too, but you can see the green line. This is going to be a little bit hard if you're on a phone, but you can see this green line here. This shows me how people that are not familiar with my content yet, non-subscribers, This shows you how those people are interacting with this compared to the people that are subscribed to the channel. So in that particular case, that shows me that, I definitely need to work on like this part, right? And this is how you can interpret some of this information. So like here, I was holding everybody until it started separating right around in here, right? So because of that, if I was in here and this was a piece of edited content, then I would go in and I would isolate this particular area in the video and I would watch that and I would watch like all of this right here. And I'd be like, okay, what's going on here? Why do I think people are leaving in this particular part? Like the regular people are kind of toughing this out, but for the non-subscribers, why do I think they start bailing here when they were tracking right along this particular part, right? So, so that type of information is extremely helpful. Now, in addition to this, let me close this. Same exact thing for like new and returning viewers. Now, for new viewers here, right, we see that they also, they actually responded better for brand new people to the very top, to the very front. And then returning viewers, they actually didn't respond well at the very beginning. So this whole front part would be the challenge in this situation of trying to figure out how to get both parties to watch. But it's usually the case on my channels and on other channels that I've looked at that, that new and returning viewers, subscribe, non-subscribe, they typically react differently anyway. But, just sharing that in terms of, how you can, interpret some of that. Next, when it comes to this audience retention report, a lot of people don't know, and I'm just going to circle this really quick so you know exactly what it is that I'm bringing attention to. This right here. So this next thing is right here in this audience retention report where we're going to click into right now to where we can see the compared to other videos. So this option here, when I select this drop down, this compared to other videos, this shows me how this video compares to other videos of similar length in regards to the audience retention. So again, this is a repurposed live stream, but still what you can interpret from this is that compared to other videos, the intro is strong in terms of me being able to hold people's, attention here for this first, like minute and some change. But by the time I got to here, this video started performing on average, and then it started underperforming here at the end. Okay. So in that particular case, that tells me if I were to look at this video and be like, yeah, this video, maybe it's not doing that great. And I were to look in here and I were to see this, then I'd be like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. Well, it's not doing that great then. I mean, this video got like 19,000 views on it, I think. But still, it's like, yeah, okay, well, this explains to me why, this video might not have been doing that great because it didn't compete well over the course of the video. Ideally, what you're going for is you want to get this chart right here. You want to get it to where you're like up in here as much as possible because this is the average line. Let me just make it in yellow. You know what? I think I can do an actual line in here. Hold on. Boom. Yep. So this line right here that I'll do in yellow, this right here is the average line. Can I hit shift to make that straight? No. That's the average line, right? What you want is you want it to be, up in the high part. When it goes low, like the current version, and I'm just going to track this. Oops. I'm just going to track this on the current version so you can still kind of see what's going on there. But basically, when it goes low like this, then what happens is you end up, where the video just ends up underperforming because it's not competing with, the other videos of similar length. So because of that, those are super important. So when it comes to the traffic sources and all of that stuff that I was talking about. So another thing here, let me take this down for a second while I go into the actually, you know what? I can just do it in this video. Here, I'll just do it here. So another thing that you can do here is I came back to my, regular, it's 20,000 views, sorry, is I go back to my regular analytics and then up here on the top right-hand side of the screen. And again, I'm just going to mark that so you guys, can clearly see where it is for anybody here that's new that doesn't know where this stuff is. So what I'm getting ready to click into is this box right up here, this button that says advanced mode. So when I click on this right here, I'm going to go over here to traffic sources. And I'm actually going to look in some other stuff here too and just kind of explain some of this out really quick. And then we'll get back into answering questions. And this is great because it's giving people time to drop some questions in there. So as I scroll down the page here, and I'm just going to take this to since uploaded, because that'll make it, just where we have more to work with here. So what we're looking at here is we're basically seeing how this video has, performed over time. So one of the things that you can do here is you can select individual sources. So like this here is YouTube search and how this video performed on YouTube search. So when I published it in 2021, was doing great and then just completely got annihilated in August of 2022. Channel pages, right? I got a little spike there, coming from people interacting with the channel. Browse features. And if we click into this, you can see that browse features consists of home, watch later, subscriptions, watch history, and personalized playlist, or people adding it, to their playlists. So here I can see on home pages that, did good right out of the gate, but then kind of died out. And like watch later, stuff like that isn't really as important. And subscriptions, I had some people coming in from subscriptions as well. But basically, oh man, I didn't mean to close that. Sorry. Boom. And it defaulted back to that. So let me go back here. But basically what you're looking for, right, is on each of the pages, you can see here, you see views, watch time, average view duration, impressions, and then impressions click-through rate. So this one right here is the one that you want to look for the individual traffic source, right? This one right here. And the reason for that is because if you just draw the lines, right, and you're like, okay, YouTube search, if we take this over to here, we can say from YouTube search, 10.5%. When it comes to browse features, I don't really look at channel pages because that's not important at scale. And then I look at browse feature, I was like 3.2, only 49,000 impressions. This thumbnail should be updated, right? Just based on, this channel. This thumbnail should be updated because on the 49,000 impressions, I've only got a 3.2% click-through rate there. Suggested videos, if we track that over at 13,000 impressions, I've got a 2.2. So here, this is kind of okay for this channel for suggested. But when it comes to the home pages, I definitely need an update here. But when it comes to this, one thing that's really important to get familiar with is the part that I'm telling you right now about the impressions click-through rate here, and needing to modify that. The reason I know that is because I'm marking it against this, right? So when I mark it against that, and more specifically, I can actually just come here to the home pages. But at 47,000 impressions, I got a 3.1, right? Because, and this is where looking at the specifics are extremely important. Let me bring something else to your attention. So when I was looking at the generalized view here in traffic sources for browse features, you can see I was getting a 3.2 here. But when I click into the browse features, then you can see that I'm averaging the 3.2, but I have 3.1 actually from home, but it's being inflated by the subscriptions, which is actually bumping it up a point, right? So because of that, this is telling me that on home pages at 47,000 impressions, that this is what my impressions click-through rate is for that. But when you start figuring out the averages on your channel in terms of what performance looks like, then you can start being able to identify things like, okay, by the time it's had this many impressions, then, it should actually be performing better. But other things, like it could be the topic, it could be the thumbnail, there's a bunch of different factors there. But those are all important. Viewer age can be important in terms of, here we've got 35 to 44 as the main demographics here. Viewer age is important because, and I'm just going to change the view here for just a second. Oops. Let me change it to this one. Nope, that's what I just had. Let me change it to this one maybe. There we go. So here, like the viewer age is important because of little details. Like let's say, for example, because I do happen to mention like Fortnite, a decent amount, right? Like when I'm doing live streams and stuff, that's just kind of a reference because, I play that game on a regular basis. And I know, there are a lot of older people that play that too, but there's a lot more younger people that play it. So like little details about the nuance of your communication. So like if you notice that like most of your audience is older like this, then in that particular case, it's like, okay, well, let me try to, avoid references that maybe these people won't get, but these people will. Right? Because these are the, majority that are interacting with it. If it was this, then in that case, it would give me the green light to be able to make those type of references that these types of people would also, connect with. So when it comes to like viewer age, those are also things to consider, if you're trying to be strategic with what it is that you're doing. Same thing with gender. So, one thing that happens in some cases, I see people complaining about this on Reddit, is that when, certain types of creators make like fitness content, for example, Like let's say a woman makes fitness content, then she'll find in a lot of cases that she has a really dominant, like male audience. Not always, but sometimes when they do yoga or fitness content, then they can run into that problem. So because of that, it kind of gives this like, oh, what are people coming to my channel for type of vibe. And in that particular situation, it could mean that dudes are just watching the content to learn how to do yoga, or it could mean that they're creeping, right? So because of that, making sure that they target for women and things like that in their titles to kind of help get more of the the female crowd on there is definitely a a move there. When it comes to device type, this is also important if you're paying attention to nuances, because in this example, we see here that when it comes to mobile phone usage, that's where a majority of the views came from, followed by computer. So if I was showing anything in the video content like I am right now, where I'm showing these stats, for those of you that are on a mobile device right now, you're having to zoom in, which means that there's a lot of people that aren't going to zoom in, which means they're not going to see the core information I'm trying to share here. So when I see that most of the people interacting with this are on a mobile device, that tells me if I'm doing screen recordings, I'm using graphics, I'm like showing anything in my videos, I need to make sure that it's big so that people on a mobile device can clearly see everything it is that they're looking at, right? So those types of things are, super important. Also looking at like your, in-screen elements and your in-screen element click-through rates, all that stuff's important. But I'll get back to answering questions. But when it comes to the stats that are important on your channel, just kind of get started focusing on those. And also keep in mind, like if you're brand new, another thing that's another really important part of this is if you are brand new and you're like not even getting 100 views yet, in that particular case, you can pull information from this, but just don't super commit to that. Right? Don't super commit to the data that you're getting because it's still low, right? So instead, try to just, learn everything you can and go ahead and start taking notes on things. But just understand, like, if you don't have a lot of data to work with, like in this case, I have 20,000 views to work with, which tells me that, and even more impressions than that. So that tells me like, okay, this everything I'm looking at here is statistically significant, and I can actually leverage that information to help me improve in some way, right? But when you have 100 views, it's a little bit different to interpret all that. Hold on, I'm closing this down real quick, switching back channels here. All right. Now we are back on track. Yeah, so hopefully that was helpful. I don't think I've ever made like an analytics video, but that's definitely something I've considered doing. I know Roberto's got like a 5-hour like masterclass in analytics. So if you enjoyed that, definitely go check out that particular video. I don't think it's up to date with like all the new, stuff that YouTube has added in terms of retention and stuff like that. And like I don't think Shorts is in there because I don't think Shorts were around yet when he made that. Possibly, I'm not sure. But if you just look up Roberto Blake on YouTube and then you go and look for that particular video, maybe look for like Roberto Blake analytics or something like that, then it should be one of those videos that pop up. But I think it's around like around 4 hours. Drew says, what's your Fortnite tag? It's just my name. Gabriel Demude says, can you combine 2 topics on your channel, or much better to create a new channel? I was thinking DIY and finance. Yeah, definitely 2 channels in that scenario. The general rule of thumb, and just a heads up, the questions, I'm actually pulling them from the form that's in the description below so I can answer them in the order that they come in. But I just happened to see that one. But the general rule of thumb, oh, he did another analytics stream last night. Perfect. Okay, yeah, that's great. Hey, what's up, Andrew? Yeah, that's great. So then Roberto just did one last night. So anybody that wants a deeper dive on analytics, definitely go check out Roberto's video. But yeah, the general rule of thumb when it comes to putting out multiple types of content or multiple topics on your channel is same audience. This is how YouTube frames it: is same audience, same channel, different audience, different channel. So in your case, if you're doing DIY content and then you're doing finance content, if the DIY stuff isn't related to finance, then in that case, you definitely want to have a different channel. If it's like, how to do all your finances DIY and become your own, financial planner, then in that case, it would make sense to put it on the same channel, because then you would have a very clear target audience of people that are trying to, manage their own finances and, plan for their own futures and learn all the nuances of, all the different choices they have for that. Let's see here. So next up on our list here, we've got number 11. We've got Shonda Stegall. They do vlogs and progress videos on goals and faith. The goal of the channel is sharing my multi-passionate life. And the question is, in January, a video got from 2 years ago, started getting tractions, 100,000 views. Channel grew 600 to 3,000 subs, got monetized, but all my videos now are only getting 100 to 200 views. Not sure why subs don't watch similar content and what I can do to move the needle again. So you said right here that you're sharing your multi-passionate lifestyle. So when it comes to your multi-passionate lifestyle, I'm not sure if that means that you're putting a bunch of different topics on your channel. If you're putting a bunch of different topics on your channel, I'm just going to look at it really quick here just so I have that reference. But if you're putting a lot of different topics on your channel, man, I keep pasting like I'm on a Mac. Okay. Well, I'm just going to see what you're doing here. Okay, so rushing to June walking challenge, swimming a mile. Okay, so these are for like, fitness challenges. High walk to 5K, fitness. Walking Chronicles, fitness. What's an XFL game like? If you're not competing, that wouldn't work. I hosted a Magnolia Table inspired dinner party. Nope, doesn't follow with fitness. Road trip, a family football adventure. So here's your problem. So basically, you are putting a bunch of content on a channel and you're expecting people to watch everything that you publish, but unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. So when it comes to YouTube, the people that are interacting with this, I tried walking every day for 90 days. Here's what happened. For the people that watched that video and enjoyed that particular video, those people will probably get recommended some of your other walking videos. So because of that, I would definitely go through, make sure that all your titles and everything make sense for when those get recommended to the people that watch that video. However, there's also some people that might get recommended some of this other content that isn't related in any way to the Walking Daily for 90 Days content. And because of that, if they are into the fitness stuff and YouTube recommends them something about your family vacation, if they don't care about your family vacation, then they're not going to click on that video, and that video is going to still not get views on it. Right. So that's why it's so important. If you want to have, if you're just publishing videos and you just want to publish videos and just have, some pop every now and then, that's perfectly fine. You can do that. But if you're trying to grow the channel and you're intentionally saying like, okay, I want to turn this into something that I want to get like a big channel, start getting like a decent amount of, like a lot of views on all my videos and stuff, then in that case, you have to follow best practices. So every now and then there's a unicorn, but 99.99999% of people are not unicorns. So because of that, the best practice is to first define, okay, who is it that I'm trying to reach with this channel and what value am I trying to provide? From there, then you start saying any video that you are going to publish to the channel, you say, okay, is this video a perfect fit for these people that I'm trying to reach with this content? If the answer is yes, then you publish the video. If the answer is no, or you make the video. If the answer is no, then in that case, you don't even bother making that video. And that doesn't mean that you have to only talking about walking, that you only have to talk about walking daily for 90 days. But it does mean that for those particular people, they're interested in walking. Maybe they're interested in weight loss. Maybe they are interested in, I would just get into the mindset. You say, will this help me lose weight? Right. So if it's people that are, looking into weight loss and all that, and they're trying to figure out like, hey, if they just start walking for 90 days, I would follow this video up because you have a lot of people interacting with this right now. I would follow this video up with something very similar in terms of, walking another 90 days, walking, 180 days, this is anything that you can share related to that very specific topic of walking 90 days. I would follow it up with one of those videos because those people are likely to, click on that particular video. But you already have one here with walking 1,000 miles. So YouTube might, recommend that one to them too. But really that particular one, When you're making the claim of walking 1,000 miles from the outside, that's like, hey, that might be interesting. I want to see what happened to you, but I'm not going to walk 1,000 miles, right? So, but what happened when I walked 90 days and you framed it around weight loss, for there, it's like, oh, all I got to do is walk for 90 days. So I can walk every day for 90 days. And this, I might get a similar result here. So I would definitely chase it with something else. But yeah, that's the thing. Like when it comes to being multi-passionate, everyone's multi-passionate, right? Like everybody, is interested in a bunch of different things. Everybody, some people like TV or watching movies. Some people don't. But the people that do like watching movies, some of those people like also watching YouTube and, watching YouTubers. Some of them like playing sports. Some of them don't. Some of them like, a bunch of all the different things that we like as humans. But everybody's multi-passionate. So because of that, if you want to, like seriously grow the channel, be like, okay, these are the people that I'm trying to reach and share this part of my life with. And for those people, just give them your all, give them the best that you got. The IT Corner by JR is our next channel. They do an IT insights and mentorship education. The goal of the channel is to pay forward what I've learned in my years in the IT industry, and create a business around it. The question is, I just started and I have learned, and I've been learning, watching you and other channels that provide information on how to start. Thank you for what you do. My pleasure. Currently, I do everything myself: ideation, thumbnail, script, video, etc. And I only have 6 long form videos with 1 short. I try to upload every 15 days since that's what I can do right now. The growth has been slow, but I'm going on an upward trajectory. Would you say that in order for a channel to pick up, it needs to have some sort of minimum content before it happens? Let's say 30 videos or so. And he also did #GetBetterD. So D, just in case you happen to be watching still. So when it comes to the amount of videos that you have on your channel, there's a couple things that I just kind of want to unpack from this really quick. Is you mentioned here that you're doing everything yourself: ideation, thumbnail, script, video, etc. That's what most content creators do. So me, I have an editor, but still, I come up with, the ideas. I make the thumbnails myself. I've tried different thumbnail people, but I can't, find anybody that will convert, any higher. So because of that, I always default back to doing them myself. But I do all that stuff myself too. And even though I have an editor, sometimes I still edit my videos too, as well as, running all the business stuff around what it is that I do with my channel. So, that side of things is pretty common. The difference though, is you probably, have a job and then you're doing all this stuff while you have the job. But most of the people here that are hanging out in the live stream right now, are in a similar situation. So the reason I'm saying all that is I just want you to know it's normal, right? So I've had a lot of people ask me, like, okay, I'm starting and, and I'm doing all this stuff myself. Like, can I even be successful if I don't have people helping me? And the answer to that is yes, absolutely. Hey, thanks, Axel. So the answer is yes, you absolutely can. I didn't even get an editor until I had, I believe it was over 100,000 subscribers is when I, started, working with an editor. I think I might have like worked with some, but I didn't like really like find anybody that I vibed with. But then, when I ran into Vigard, I can't remember when we started working together exactly in terms of subscriber count, but it was after 100,000 subscribers. But when it comes to that part of it, just know that that's, it's normal and it's perfectly fine too. Like if you enjoy doing that stuff, then you might do it forever. If you don't like doing that stuff, then in that case, that's where you're like, okay, I just want to focus on making the content and hire all the other stuff out. But I do recommend that you learn how to do this stuff anyway, because that will also help you when you are having other people do it, because it's going to, help you be able to identify what good is. It's going to let you know how long things take to do. So because of that, when somebody gives you a price on something, you're going to be able to say like, oh, that's ridiculous. Or you're going to be like, oh yeah, totally. Yeah, do this. Right. So it'll do that. But in terms of the minimum amount of videos, there's not a rule there. So some people will say 30 videos, but in reality, there is not a number. So, some people, it will take them, 100 or 200 videos before they even start seeing any traction at all. Some people will publish their very first video and it'll just blow up and get hundreds of thousands or millions of views on it. That's rare, but it happens. Some people, it's just a gradual progression. As a matter of fact, just to highlight this, and I showed this yesterday too, but this is a really great example of this concept in action in terms of, just kind of how things go and how it can take people a really long time sometimes. So I'm going to show you guys this here, this as well really quick. because I think it's important for everybody here for context. Like if you're a channel right now or if you're a person right now and your channel is just kind of struggling, I just want to bring attention to this channel here. So this channel here is currently the biggest personal channel on YouTube. The channel name is Mr. Beast. When he publishes videos now, he gets, this one 6 days ago now has 74 million views on it. 2 weeks ago, 155 million, 157 million. He's got billions of views on everything that he does. Like he's the biggest personal channel on YouTube right now. And I think the biggest channel just in general. So this is what I want to show you. So if you go to his oldest videos, right? He was on YouTube for 10 years before he really started picking up serious momentum and turned it into what it is now. So if you look through all of his old videos, right, and we look at all these videos, it took him years before. I mean, now they've got a bunch of videos or views on him, of course, but it took him years and tons of videos before he even got on camera, right? Before he even started like doing anything on camera, before he even got that confidence. It took him a long time before he even, you see all these videos here, it took him all these videos before he started trying to make custom thumbnails. And then as we just keep progressing through, you can see like his thumbnail styles change. You can see how he just tries a bunch of different stuff, how he's trying different topics, different games. He changes his styling for how he's doing his thumbnails, where he starts putting words on them here with the screenshots. As we go down, you see he's doing these for celebrating 1,500 subscribers on his channel 9 years ago. Keep going down. He changed his thumbnail style to this, right? And started kind of changing things up there, changed his thumbnail style to this. Stuck with that for, a bunch of videos. Look at all these, right? In that particular thumbnail style. And then, still tons of videos. Like we're still scrolling down. So this channel started, we're at 8 years right now. And this channel started, I believe it was 12 years ago. Yeah. So right now we're still 9 years ago, coming down here. I think we're getting ready to cross into 8 years. But if you just keep going, like we just hit this section here where he starts putting himself like in the content and in the thumbnails, and that's not him, by the way, but in the content and the thumbnails, that type of thing. And as we continue to go down the page, right, like you can see trying more thumbnails, doing all that. And if you just consider, right, this is years. So 8, 9, 10, this is 4 years in. And he's still like just trying. And keep in mind, in this particular case, in his case, according to him, during this entire process, he's completely obsessed with YouTube. He has the dream of being a big YouTube content creator. He's doing everything he can for every video that he publishes to try to get better. He's connecting with other content creators. Everybody's learning together the things that are working and the things that aren't for them. During this process, all of that is also happening. So he's literally doing everything that he can to try to get traction. And he's still 4 years later in this particular scenario. And then as we keep going, right, we see all the different stuff. So now he has 100,000 subscribers, 7 years. So he got, which video was it? He had one where he counted to a certain number and that ended up blowing up his channel. So that's going to be up in here somewhere. But he started doing all these like crazy challenges, things like that, like 100 layers of saran wrap plus toilet paper, right? Which is basically what he does now. He just does it as a higher production now than what he did there. And he knows how to put the videos together better now, based on how I was talking about before earlier about looking at the audience retention reports, learning for how people are responding. So basically he published these videos and then he learned from these videos to make his next videos better and just kept doing it, kept doing it, and kept doing it, and kept doing it, right? And just kept going. And then now, here we are in 2024 and he's the biggest content creator on the platform because he published tons of videos and learned from those videos that he published, right? That's the idea that I'm trying to express. So let's see here. Next question. We have Gardening with Bear Brown is the channel. Give me 1 second here. Whoa.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
All right, let's keep going. So this is a gardening channel. The goal of the channel is to teach others how to grow food and to do this full-time one day. And the question is, hey, Nick, I've had my first brand deal for a product. Congratulations. Says, I need to say and write in the description what do I need to say and write in the description for this product review? How would you intro a video like this? Okay, so you haven't made the video yet. Okay. So first, there's going to be a checkbox in your video details page that you need to check to notify YouTube that it's a paid promotion. Outside of that, your description, you can do whatever it is that you want to do with it that you would normally do, but the sponsor is going to want you to add a link to your video description. So you're going to need to do that for them. Keep in mind, I would still write the paragraph, a paragraph for the actual description, right, to describe your video, but then put the link underneath that. Some brands or some deals, and this is stuff that you got to look in your deliverables for, but some people will demand that you put the link at the top of the description. I wouldn't do that. I would put your description first and then put the link underneath that. And then from there, in terms of what to say and write in the description, you know, that's covered. And where it says, how would you intro a video like this? I would just make the video, right? So basically I would do the gardening video, and you can do a couple of things. So if the sponsored part's going to be later in the video, then you can say at the very beginning, you know, this video is sponsored by blah, blah, and then start making the content, then go into the content. And then when you get to the part, we're going to talk about the actual product itself, or a couple of different ways. So if you're doing a piece of content where you're doing your regular gardening content, but then you're inserting this in there as like, oh, hey, this is a product that I use when I'm doing my gardening, and you are demonstrating it in that capacity, then in that case, you can do it, you know, anytime that you want in the video. If you're doing a full dedicated video, then in that particular case, you do want to make sure in either capacity, you want to say that they sent that to you, right? So like, for example, if I was making a video here about Roger Wakefield's cup, then his mug, then I would say, yeah, Roger, you know, sent me this mug. You know, if it was a paid spot, then I would say, yeah, you know, Roger sent me this mug. It's great. As you can see, it's like super tall, holds tons of water or coffee or anything else that you want to put in there. And then I would say like whatever else it is that, you know, that I was trying to, you know, highlight on there, you know, even the fact that he has a cool like live streamer, you know, right there on the front of it. But anyway, the idea is that you just need to disclose it, right? And just say that they sent me this, so that people know that the recommendation that you're giving might have some incentivization behind it. Next up, we've got Us Plus Dad. What's going on? Hope you're doing great. Says they do Roblox. Goal of the channel is to create the most interactive Roblox community. And the question is there an easy way to manage YouTube members that are in Discord? We thought about making Discord available for only YouTube members, but decided not to because it would be another job added keeping track of who is a YouTube member, and if they didn't renew, kicking them from the Discord. This is why I made the Discord. So I have a members Discord as well. And when it comes to that, the reason I made the Discord is because Discord will do that automatically on your behalf. So there's a connection that you can set up in Discord to where it will add members there, to where as long as they log in with their account and they have their YouTube channel connected, it'll automatically identify through looking at your channel and theirs that they are a channel member. And then it will automatically give them access to whatever it is that they need access to. So for example, any channel members here, they can go into our Discord and they automatically have access to that as long as they have their channel connected. When it comes to the Facebook group, that's a whole different story. So basically I used to like live stream and everything in the Facebook group. And this is kind of what kind of pulled me away from, you know, being as active there. But basically what happened there is, you know, you start having a decent amount of people go in there. And then as people start canceling, if you're not trying to stay on top of it, you're not actually keeping chart of everything, then it becomes really challenging, because then it's like, okay, well, now I'm giving a bunch of, you know, free stuff and free content and all that stuff to people that aren't even, you know, really participating. So because of that, that's why, you know, moved a majority of things over to Discord. So what I'm going to start doing now is when we start up our live streams this coming week, is I'm just going to stream back on YouTube. I'm not going to be able to watch video content, but I can talk about, you know, channel stuff, description stuff, thumbnails, titles, all that. So I'm going to make those particular live streams focused more on just thumbnails and titles, just to help people kind of overcome that challenge and topics as well. That way I don't have to watch videos. And the downside of that is because it's on YouTube, you know, in the past when we did our groups, we would, or our live streams, I would watch videos and be like, hey, you know, this intro, do this, you're wasting too much time here. And then, you know, we'd really get into the nitty gritty of like, you know, the content people were making too. And I can't do that on YouTube because if I have a member stream going and I'm doing that and I'm playing videos, then I risk getting a copyright strike on that live stream, right? If they have music or something like that playing. And I'm not going to risk that. So because of that, in the Facebook group previously, I would use a different service, then we'd watch videos, all that stuff, no problems there. But now, because of the problem with people being in that group that are not members, I have to do the stream on my YouTube channel so that those people in there that are not members still, so they can't access that live stream. Same exact thing goes. The same exact thing goes when like when I announce that live stream, I'm going to announce it in the Facebook group. I'll put it in the community post, and I'll put it in the Discord, all member focused. And out of that particular post, some people are going to, the people that are still members are going to be able to see all that, but the people that are not, they'll see the message in Facebook, but they won't be able to actually, participate. And BJ Jones says, since you're on topic, what's the purpose of Discord? Is it a chat thing? I'm not on Facebook either, but trying to see if there's another purpose to it. Yes. So on Discord, basically, how to show you I can just tell you the structure, but basically when you go into the members only Discord, what is in there is we have just a chat. VIP is the name of the chat for it. And that's where, members, can just, talk. It's not super active, but, people can, talk in there. And then there's also a section for questions. So when it comes to the question area, basically you drop a question in there. And then when I go in there and I see that, then I can answer the question, or somebody else that's in the group can answer the question if it's something that somebody else is familiar with. But that question area is a great place to just kind of solve problems. Like, for example, here, like how Us Plus Dad just mentioned, is there's an easy way to track members, things like that. Like a channel member could have asked that in the Discord at any time, anytime during the week. And then, anybody that's in that area or myself would have went in and answered that question, right? So it's like that. Then Home Rapid Repair says, become a member today. Appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, so for the Discord, it's mostly that. So it's basically just that additional, just interaction and, just being able to, chat with other content creators and stuff like that. And being able to, ask very specific questions that we can try to help you with. Yeah, Andrew can. He's got a pretty active Discord. The downside with his is when I go in there to interact, it requires that I verify phone numbers, and I don't like doing that sort of thing. So because of that, unless I have to, and I just don't do that for Discord. So because of that, unfortunately, I can't participate in his anymore since he has that particular feature in there. But it's a good Discord, pretty active. They're super helpful, help people out in there. I think it might even be free. But it's an awesome Discord. I was in there a decent amount before that, the verification thing happened, but I understand why he did it. Cause a lot of people go into these Discords and they cause all kinds of problems and headaches, and you just get the wrong, people in there. And spammers, stuff like that. So I understand the phone verification. But just, let you know that particular thing is a requirement for that. Okay. It is still free. Okay. Nice. So, next up we've got Luca. Luca has an art channel. The goal of the channel is to create a community. And the question is uploading daily a good thing starting off? I just started. All I want to do is improve. So would uploading every day help me with that? If all you're focused on is improvement, then in that particular case, I would mix your uploads with researching stuff and educating yourself. So if you're uploading every day, the focus is wake up, do whatever you got to do. When you're finished, make a video, like if you have a job, then you got to go do that. Or when you're doing your art, for your work, whatever, you got to do that because you have your life requirements. And then when you do your YouTube stuff, then, if the goal is to complete a video for that day, then you're going to be so focused on that goal of just getting a video done that you're not going to have much time to work on the improvement side, right? So you'll be going through the process and getting your workflow together. So that's a win. But in terms of improving how you're doing things so that people will respond better to the videos so that you can make them more competitive, essentially, then in that particular case, what I would do is I would do a video on that day. And then on the next day, I would be like, okay, now I'm going to go watch a bunch of videos or read articles or just start talk with Chat GPT, whatever. And I'm going to start trying to learn more about thumbnails. And then, the next day you make a video. Day after that, then you're like, okay, I'm going to spend some more time this whole week on that other day. This whole week, I'm going to spend it on thumbnails, or the next 2 weeks, I'm going to spend it on thumbnails. Then after that, the next one is, okay, I'm going to do it on, titles. And I'm going to, just kind of go deep dive into titles. So I got a video, so I'm practicing what I'm learning. And then I have the learning, then another video to practice what I'm learning, then learning, another video to practice what I'm learning. And basically by doing that, you're going to ensure that you have enough space to not just do the task, but to intentionally try to improve what it is that you're doing with the task. So because of that, I would just kind of space it out a little bit. Because the goal on YouTube is not to just mass publish videos. That's not the goal. The goal on YouTube is to publish content that is competitive for the platform, so that in terms of, compared to other videos on the platform, so that when you publish something, that there's going to be enough people that see it to where you're satisfied, right? So that for you, that might be 100 people, it might be 1,000 people, it might be 10,000 people or 100,000 people or 1 million people or more, but it's enough people until you're satisfied. And then from there, once you hit that point, then that's where you're like, okay, so now we're there. Let's see if we can push it even further if you choose to. Or you can say, okay, we've hit this place. So now I'm going to go into maintenance mode, maybe spend more time making content, maybe spending, instead of trying to, do the learning part every other day, maybe I'm going to spend one of those days, a week just on ideation and just trying to come up with like really new ideas that nobody's ever done, on YouTube before and stuff like that. That's where you start, doing that, is once you hit that place of consistency. Let's see here. So, hey, thanks, legal-minded friends. Appreciate that. Next question. We've got piano music. Soothing is the name of the channel. It's a relaxing piano music and stunning graphics, slowly going left to right. The goal of the channel is to establish a subscriber base and ideally monetize. And the question is, I've uploaded 250 videos. It seems very competitive. What recommendations do you have to help me grow from 500 subs, where most videos are under 100 views, to be more competitive? Also, is there a recommended length of video? So when it comes to relaxing piano music, one, the quality of the music is going to be super important. So just because it's being put out there doesn't mean that, the people on the receiving end are vibing with it, right? So they might be, but for your video to do well, you're going to have enough people click on it at a competitive rate, compared to how many people YouTube shows it to. And out of those people that do click on it, you're going to have a certain percentage of those people, watch that video for a certain amount of time for YouTube and engage with that video to where YouTube's like, yeah, people are really enjoying this. And then when you hit that moment, that's when, the videos will start doing better. But when it comes to establishing the subscriber base and, monetizing and all of that, like, music is competitive on YouTube. And I would definitely recommend utilizing playlists if you're not doing that already. Make sure that, your videos are not just saying like relaxing piano music over and over again. You can have that, but I would also start, trying to tap into like emotions or use cases in terms of relaxing piano music to listen to while you work, right? Or relaxing piano music to help you shake off a bad day, like that type of thing, so that people can make that, kind of emotional or utility connection to it, is definitely something to consider, when it comes to that. But when it comes to it being competitive, it is, right? But once people find it and they enjoy it, then, they'll keep coming back. Like I've got a bunch of playlists that I have bookmarked, and, I'll just go back to those, playlists, or I have individual song or individual videos that I'll go back and listen to. Like, for example, I have one that you've probably heard me mention before if you're a regular here. The channel's called Mono Man, and the video is called Meditation, or the track is called Meditation. It's like a 3-minute guitar solo, but it's like Spanish guitar, so it's super slow and moody. But it's like a 3-minute guitar solo, and they just loop it for an hour. So if I'm working and my brain is in that type of mood, then I'll just, type in, Mono Man, and then I'll pull up that video, and then I'll just sit there and listen to it. And the reason that happened is because I was getting ready for a live stream, and it just auto played that after I finished something else. And I was just like, wow, this is incredible. And this is a really key point. I was like, wow, this is incredible. And then I stopped what I was doing, went over and looked at it, subscribed to the channel, engaged with it so I would see it again. And I ended up bookmarking that too. So the kick is that, it's got to be, it's got to be really good stuff, which, I'm sure it is, but it's got to be really good stuff. And you have to learn how to get people to click on what it is that you're doing. So because of that, I would just go, like, if you got 250 videos, that means you're publishing tons of content. So I would just get super experimental with, because the piano music's going to be the piano music. A couple things you can do, though, is you can look in your audience retention reports and see, like, if you see that just everybody's leaving the video quickly, then that means that maybe, you need to start the what's the word I'm looking for? Just drew a blank. Composition differently, in order for, for people to just kind of vibe with it as they're coming in or something like that. But you can use your audience retention reports to help you identify how people are, enjoying the actual music too. So I would definitely, look at that and see how people are kind of getting on with the actual music itself. And just because you said music, can't help myself.
Hit the sub button, hit the like button. If you're having fun, comment, type something. If you're laying back, leaning and engage, just take a second to smash the whole page.
All right, so our next question is Imperial Remnant. Imperial Remnant, they do Star Wars lore content. The goal of the channel is to share my love of the franchise, work with some sponsors, and eventually allow my wife to quit her job. And the question is, are there any good rules or standards for playlists? Now that I have a growing library, what I initially set up isn't doing it. Sorry if this is too content specific for this stream. No, this is fine. So basically, in your particular case, hey, thanks, Motive Music. I appreciate it. So basically, in your particular case, what you want to start doing is, if you are doing like a wall build, then, that would be a playlist. If you're doing like a floor build, that might be a playlist. If you're doing a specific look, then you can make a playlist out of that. But the idea is to just think about it through the lens of the viewer, the eyes of the viewer, and think to yourself like, okay, if I was somebody that was coming in and I was trying to, for the Star Wars lore, not the building stuff. So if I was somebody that was coming into a channel, into my channel about Star Wars lore, how could I categorize this content into playlists so that where I would be able to find what I want as fast as possible? And then from there, out of the playlist that you make, then you got to think about what is the most popular in terms of, topically that people are interacting with the content that you have. And then you want to start featuring playlists about those things on the channel page so that as people are coming in on the popular stuff, that when they hit your channel page, that if they scroll down there, that they can easily find the additional content that they're enjoying already. Let's see here. Next up, Build and Fix with Mooney. What's going on, man? Hope you are doing fantastic. Let's see here. Jerry says, always think like a viewer. Absolutely. So important. Right? Like when you're just trying to think about it from like an analytical standpoint, then things can get like crazy because then you start thinking, about numbers. But when you start thinking about like people and you're like, okay, like why are people coming to my channel? What is it they want from my channel? How can I make it to where if they're interacting with my channel, since I'm building this resource for, the viewers that are watching my content, then how can I, structure things? How can I link things up to make it easy for them to find more content that they're likely to enjoy? Because they're coming and watching your content because they're interested in what it is that you're talking about. And if they enjoy your video, then they're going to want more. So because of that, just thinking, from their point of view in terms of like, okay, what can I make for them next that they're likely to enjoy? How can I structure my channel page where they can find what it is that they want? How can I do my playlist and just make my playlist available so they can find what they want for the things for the playlist or videos that I'm pinning? What should I pin that would be the most relevant and enjoyable for the person that's watching this particular video right now? Those types of, questions, but just making it all about the viewer will get you pretty far. Figure Fever is our next channel here. The type of channel is toy hunting, unboxing, purchases, and toy reviews. The goal of the channel is to have viewers enjoy watching my toy hunts and unboxing in my state of Massachusetts. The question is, how can I entice my viewers to watch my videos from beginning to end, even though my viewers are consistent of toy hunting at stores and unboxing online purchases? So you have to use, if you're trying to get, you can't entice people, right? You can't just be like, oh, hey, watch my video to the end. You have to do that through learning how people respond to your videos over time, and you use your audience retention reports for this. Your audience retention reports, I'm not sure if you were here earlier, but I showed audience retention reports, and it's a second-by-second graph of how people are responding to your content over time. And you learn, okay, if people aren't, people are leaving in this part, then I need to do tons of experiments over my next 10 to 15 to 20 videos to try to fix this particular, part of the video so I can get people a little bit longer. And then once you get that sorted, then you rinse and repeat that for the next little part of your video. And you just keep rinse and repeating that process. So that process, could take years and years. It could take months, depending on, where everything's at right now. So, because of that, you just have to make the content that the viewer wants to watch, and that they want to watch it. So it's not something that you have to convince people of. It's something that they have to naturally want to do. So because of that, you just have to focus on the really hard part, which is, making the videos that the viewers enjoy. Next, that's a really good move too. English Fun Zone says, as a teacher, I try to guess what questions my students would ask about the topic. Yeah, that's a really good move. Let's see here. So I did the Dr. Vibe show already, so we'll skip this one to give other people a chance. So B Sizzle is our next question. They do music, mukbangs, and animation content. The goal of the channel is I want to be a rapper. Nice, super cool. The question is, my channel blasted off a year ago to 600 subscribers. I went to my channel analytics and it says 74.7% of my viewers are not subscribed. How do I convince them to be a part of the army, and how do I make my channel blast off again? Okay, this is just exactly like the question that I just answered. So when it comes to your channel blasting off again, you have to make something that resonates with people. When you make something that resonates with people and you can get them to click on it, then that is going to be the thing that will cause a video to do substantially better than the other videos on the channel. When it comes to getting people to subscribe, people subscribe because they are enjoying the content that they just watched enough that they want more of it. People subscribe because they check out your channel page and they see like, wow, they got a bunch of this content. I really dig it. And I want to watch more. So because of that, I'm going to, subscribe to that. And people also subscribe because they are, they might, see both of those to where they're like, hey, this is a really good video. Look at the channel. Like, wow, they got some really good stuff here. And then that paints the picture of like, hey, they're probably going to put out some really good videos in the future too. So I definitely want to, subscribe to this channel so I can watch more of this content. When you are making, like, if you're putting songs together that are really good and people are like, wow, this is awesome, right? Then they're going to subscribe to your channel. So because of that, focus on the content first. Don't worry about the 74.7% of your viewers are not subscribed. Instead, focus all of your efforts. Don't worry about subscribers right now. Focus all of your efforts on like, okay, how can I put out songs that people will, really enjoy? How can I put out music people really enjoy? There's another problem that I just want to mention really quick. So you mentioned that on your channel, you do music, mukbangs, and animation. This could also be working against you. So that's why I wanted to mention it. So when it comes to YouTube channels, it's really helpful to make sure that everything on your channel is a good fit for a particular type of viewer. And the reason this is important, let's say, because I listen to, rap music, I, make, as you saw my little subscribe animation there, I've got the coffee song before here, right? I make different types of music. And as a part of that, I'm really into music. So if I run across, a channel and it's a, an independent music creator and I like their content, then I'm just gonna subscribe to the content. When I do, then in that particular case, if I subscribe to your channel because your music is awesome and I think that that you're a really good rapper, then in that case, if you next make a mukbang video and I'm like, wait a minute, isn't that guy that wasn't he the rapper guy? Then I would actually go to that mukbang video and I'd probably unsubscribe, or I just wouldn't click on it. And then if I didn't click on that one, and then you uploaded an animation video and I didn't click on that one when YouTube showed it to me, then in that case, YouTube's going to be like, okay, when we're showing content to this viewer that seemed like they were really engaged, they're not responding to it. So therefore, let's stop showing the videos to that viewer because they're just not responding to the content. So that's a problem with what it is that you're doing there in terms of making 3 totally different types of content for three totally different types of viewers. So what I recommend that you do is, I'm not sure if mukbang, animation, or music caused you to get your 600 subscribers. But what I would do is I would think about, like, the goal is to be a rapper. If the goal is to be a rapper, I would start a YouTube channel. I would start fresh. I'm not sure how much of the mukbang and animation stuff you've done. If it's new, then maybe, you know, kind of let that go and just get back onto the music again. But if you are wanting to be a rapper, then every video that you put out on your channel should either be, the person I'm talking about here, the channel is called B Sizzle, Tim Out of This World. So basically, if you're wanting to be a rapper, what you need to do is you need to have a channel that showcases your talents so that people will watch your videos and they will enjoy you as the rapper that you're trying to become. Because you're not going to watch mukbang content and be like, oh, okay, this person's a rapper and I want to, like, you know, follow them as a rapper, right? They're going to want to follow you because you're mukbang stuff. So because of that, if the entire goal is to be a rapper, then in that case, be a rapper, right? Have all of your content, everything that you're making should be showcasing your skills, maybe a vlog, you know, that you do in addition to showcasing the music that you're releasing, maybe a vlog or something that you do where you kind of, you know, give fans and people that are interacting with your music just some insights into what it is that you're doing. But I would do it around the music that you're making, not just like, hey, we're taking a family vacation. I would do it around like, hey, I'm going to this studio or I'm collaborating with this, beat maker or this other rapper, this singer or whatever, or hey, we're going to the music store to buy a new microphone. These are the things I keep in mind, like that kind of stuff. And when you do that, then you're giving yourself the opportunity to actually become, a rapper that has people that are following them. So another thing, just as another really quick tip, is if you are trying to be a rapper on YouTube, go ahead and, release full songs onto YouTube because you can do that. And you can also get those into YouTube Music as well. But also, I would be making tons of short form content. So it's 60 seconds a pop. So you can get on there, like really, man, like I follow a bunch of people on TikTok that do this, not really on YouTube. YouTube hasn't really recommended me that content, but basically it's like, the whole thing is like somebody has their phone set up and then they've got like a microphone and then maybe they put like a light in the background or something like that, but it's really isolated on, the person. And then they're just right there on the microphone. And as soon as the content shows up to me on TikTok, they're just going at it, right? They're just going at it. And they're, like for me, I'm like, oh yeah, they killed that. And then I'll, subscribe or follow them over on TikTok. So if you're trying to do that, I recommend that you do leverage vertical content, short form content on YouTube, and then make them a little bit longer everywhere else, and do something similar there. And in my opinion, I think that that's the fastest path compared to like long form videos. So do the long form videos too, but to get in front of more new people that have never introduced you or never seen you before, short form content or vertical content. And here's why. When you publish a video on YouTube, a music video, people still have to click on it if it's a long form video. Okay. That by itself is going to prevent tons of new people that might have loved your talent. It's going to prevent them from ever being introduced to you. However, when you have short form content, somebody swipes up on their phone, whoop, there you are, killing it. Right? And anybody who is into rap music, they're going to pause for a second and they're going to listen to what it is that you have to say, as long as the beat's good, right? So if they're vibing with that and you're killing it, then they're going to be like, oh yeah, what's going on here? And they're going to take a second to pay attention. And as long as you deliver, then they're going to follow along. Let's see here. Next up on our list, we've got healing sound baths. Healing Sound Baths, the sound healing channel. The goal of the channel is to help people be able to relax and raise their vibration and calm the nervous system. The question is, can you talk more about making titles for videos? I think that is one of the hardest things to come up with. How important is the way that you word the title? It's extremely important. The reason it's important is like yesterday, we were doing channel reviews over on the Tube Spanner channel, and we pulled up a channel that does scuba diving content. And one of the videos, it was just scuba diving in the Philippines. And that's a good title because it's informative, right? However, there's nothing really compelling about it. So it's informative, right? Maybe in some cases it might be compelling that it's actually in the Philippines, and that could be what makes it compelling. But the thing that I was telling him is I was like, okay, when it comes to your titles, you can start with something informative, right? To where it just lets people know what's going on. There, people will click on it and you're being transparent, like, hey, this is what the video is about, right? And you just title the video based on what it is that you have come up with. But if you want to make it more compelling, like in the dive channel example, or the diving channel, the thing that you do there in that case would be like, scuba diving in the Philippines, and then maybe a bar, and then like, I can't believe, how beautiful this was, or this, like I got emotional, during this, diving, or whatever the thing is. But basically you just try to add a little bit more to it, to where this is the game with titles, to where instead of it being like, oh, this is what this video is about, so seems kind of interesting, instead of that, it's, oh, this is what the video is about, I need to check this out, right? That's the difference between being informational and being compelling. Now, when it comes to being compelling, another thing as well is you can also do things where, you open up like curiosity gaps and, things like that. You can also do things where you challenge people. So, like in your particular case, you could do something along the lines of like, the challenge would be like, by the time you're finished with this video, you're going to be, you're going to feel, Zen, or whatever the thing is. And then in that particular case, people that are into that are going to see that and be like, oh, okay, well, I'm kind of looking for that right now. And then some of those people will click on that just because you added the part in there about that they would feel Zen when it was finished. And you're kind of challenging them by like, hey, when you're done with this is what you're going to feel like. Right. So like those types of things are just kind of a little bit of perspective in terms of titles. I actually have, I don't think I can pull this up. Actually, I can pull this up on my phone, and I will here really quick, as long as I can access it quickly. But when it comes to titles, there's other things too. Like I'm going to pull up like a presentation thing that I have here. I'm not going to do the actual presentation, so don't worry about that. But like, let's see here. So this is the new one. So I think it's at the bottom of this. Give me 1 second here. So I think I have a title section, but there's other details too. Like, once you get into like the nitty gritty, and I actually, I think I shared this video in my Facebook group for the members, where I actually did this presentation. But it's like I think it's like a 30 or 40 minute video to where I just break down, titles and, all the different things you can do with titles in terms of just like search stuff, but also structurally. And I'm just kind of looking for it right now. So give me a second. But like structurally and things like that, in order to make sure that you're adding the right elements to bring in the right, viewers and, all kinds of stuff like that. So I'm just looking for it really quick. I'm just looking through slides here. Slide after slide after slide. Here we go. Okay. So, yeah, like for example, one of the other things, so like, you know what, I won't even get into that particular part. Well, we're going to keep going and go into more title focused stuff. I just want to show you this for the sake of you. Here we go. We're getting close. All right. So like here, and I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see this, but like in this particular example, right? So like you can see here to where it has, no, here, let me turn my automation off. But you can see here in terms of just kind of breaking a title down, right? To where it has like a compelling part, and then you have like a keyword phrase in there if you're targeting search anyway, or if you want to give your videos a chance of showing up in search. And then it also has a very specific target on here for who it is that you're trying to reach, right? So in addition to that, just another example that actually has even more of these on here. So I do a similar thing and talk about like the positioning of like, words and moving stuff to the front. So like this is a full breakdown. You can feel free to like screenshot this if you want. Just got to turn it this way so I can make sure I get it to you here. Yeah, so it's a little bit of a screen display thing. But anyway, there's another like example for you. And feel free to like screenshot that and look at it later or whatever. But basically it just kind of breaks down like different things, right, about a title and essentially makes every word count, right? Like unless it's a filler word, it's just kind of a way that you make every word in your title count, and that you're being intentional about the positioning and everything of what it is that you're, of all the words that you're using in your title, so that you can make sure that you are, putting things in the right place. Right? Like, for example, like this right here, just to show you, I'm going to see if I can do this, but like, this is just one small section of that same concept in terms of just kind of moving words around, right? To make sure that, the viewer sees the right things first. These are all different slides for that same concept and just working through that particular idea. But like when it comes to titles, they're definitely complex, and like there's people, titles are so complex that when it comes to YouTube, there's people like Jake Thomas who his whole entire brand, literally his whole entire brand, is around helping people write titles. That's it. That's his whole thing. He's got a newsletter about it. He's got a product that he sells, about writing titles. It's like a software thing. But all his thing is he just focuses 100% on titles. Like that's how important titles are, and what a pain they are as well, right? Oh. So thanks for the super chat here. Stefan says, gaining subs and views in one word or phrase. I'm not sure I understand your question. Gaining subs and views in one word or phrase. Growth? If that was like a question, I'm not sure that I'm not sure. Growth, thriving would be one word. Growth. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a challenge. I'll keep an eye out for your comment in the chat. If you could just kind of add some information to that. Okay, you could distill it down to a single word or phrase. In the past, it seemed to be consistency, but how would you phrase it now? Yeah, so on your end, that would be like, growth or momentum, if you're continually, gaining, subs and views. But when it comes to gaining subs and views in one word or phrase in terms of what's involved, then my word would be work, because there's just so much involved, right? Like when it comes to making videos, like, I just gave like a really brief, tiny little tip of the iceberg touch on like titles, for example. And, that's just one little tiny part of the whole situation. That doesn't even count, like the actual video idea, itself. That doesn't count, being really mindful and strategic about the thumbnail that you're publishing. It doesn't count anything you're doing in the video. That doesn't count content strategy in terms of like, this video is designed for this reason. This video is designed for this reason. These videos are designed to grow the channel. These videos are designed for the sake of nurturing the community that I'm trying to grow or that I currently have. These videos here are created for the purpose of driving revenue. Like there's so much involved that it's really hard to compact down into one word. So next up on our list here, we've got, and we're number 22, so we're kind of moving through these. All right. So we've got Cutting Edge Health in Orlando Landrum, MD. And they do medicine and healthcare content. The goal of the channel is teaching people about health, interventional neuroscience options for relief centered around physical pain and mental health. The question is, longtime viewer, first-time question. I followed your advice to use other similar channels to streamline topics, production type, etc. However, because the different topics of physical pain treatments and mental pain treatments, I'm not finding an exact replica. Anecdotally, I know in my practice these things are highly related, but how do I find that sweet spot for further growth and reaching those who are interested? Aside, most of our viewers come from YouTube search. Specific question, that is from separate topics. Yeah, so that's really common when it comes to that type of content is, basically people are like, I have this problem. How do I fix it? Right. So I would leverage that. There's nothing wrong with that. When it comes to YouTube search, the real big win on YouTube search is that it is great, stable traffic. Like if you get positioned well in search on YouTube and or Google or the other textual search engines, like it can drive a substantial amount of views over time. The win with the recommendation system is that you can publish a video today and you can wake up tomorrow and have 100,000 views on it. Where when it comes to YouTube search, you don't really have that opportunity unless something is super trending at that moment in time. Then you do. But even in that case, it's still, because it's trending, you'll still usually also get a lot of that traffic from the recommendation system as well. So I don't think there's anything wrong with what's happening with what it is that you're doing. But if you are trying to get more activity, here's what I would do. The very first thing is I would go and I would start. You might already know this information from your practice, but if you're trying to reach as many people as possible, that are having these issues, then I would start with the issues that there a larger amount of people are having and start working on those and start kind of framing everything from the outside. If you're trying to tap into recommendations, start framing everything around things that that they can identify. So for example, like this is how you identify if you are dehydrated, or this is how you identify if you have like a severe, I'm just using this as an example because I'm not a medical professional in any way, but this is how you identify, if you have, a bald disc, or if you just have, general back pain. This is how you, identify if you are pre-diabetic, or, whatever the thing is. But basically doing those types of videos so that people that are curious about those types of things, if they get recommended, that they'll, be interested in clicking on them. A really good channel that I know personally that does this, that's really good at it, his name is Dr. Sten, and he does a lot of those types of things in terms of like, these are the signs that your liver is failing, or, those types of videos. And they do fantastic, because those are types of things where when they show up on your homepage, you're like, oh gosh, I wonder, what that is, because, I want to be able to identify this. Other things I've seen, like, I don't have this problem, fortunately, but I've seen like videos on YouTube where there'll be like a line in somebody's like fingernail bed or whatever. And they'll be like, if you have this, then, you need to watch this or whatever. Those types of things are, just a good way to kind of scrape that attention off of, the recommendation features. Stevan says, work makes sense. Yeah, there's so much involved. I was looking for what to focus on the most. Okay, so here's the thing. When it comes to focusing, what you should focus on the most, because there is so much involved, just focus on the things that you think that you're deficient in right now and improving yourself there. Because, the self-awareness side of things is really important. So if you're like, I believe, just based on what I've seen in my audience retention reports and the feedback that I'm getting and things like that, I think that I'm, pretty good at making videos right now, but I suck at getting people to click on my videos. So then work on that part, right? And work on the, the different factors of that. If you're like, hey, I'm getting people to click, but nobody's watching my videos, then the logical thing to work on then would be, the actual video content itself, and, how to, keep people watching for a longer period of time. Renee Ritchie in the house. What's going on, dude? Hope that you are on fantastic. Says good morning / evening, Nick, Doug, Chantel, Andrew, and all. Did Nick leave D at the Starbucks again today? No, D's fired. Yeah, I had to get rid of D. Yeah, he was being problematic as usual. So D is no longer going to be streaming here on Nimin Live. I'm just kidding. Of course, that did not happen. Yeah, that did not happen. I'm just kidding. So D's actually under the weather today. So since he's under the weather, he's been under the weather for a few days, but I hit him up today and I was like, hey man, are you you're going to be able to stream today? And he's like, nope, still. Like, he's like, yeah, I can't even hardly leave the a certain room of the place. So because of that, no, he's just not feeling well. Let's see here. So next up on the list, we've got Off the Shelf Rides. They do automotive reviews. The goal of the channel is to go full-time reviewing vehicles. And the question is, you often say that when you release a video, your CTR is generally high and then it drops as the impressions reach outside of your prime audience. I often have the opposite reaction. I'm sure it's because of my type of content. My videos start with a low CTR, and as more impressions go out, I will then see my CTR start climbing over the next few days to a week as it finds people interested in the vehicle. Do you think this is specifically related to my content, auto reviews, or is there another reason? I feel this happens to others also. So typically it'll go down when you get more impressions, because you are getting in front of a lot more people that might be an okay fit for the content, but they're not a perfect fit for it. That's why that typically happens. In your case, what could be happening is YouTube could be finding your audience, and they could be like, okay, we're going to try it against these this group of people, and those people don't really respond that well. And then they try it against a different group of people, and those people do. So that kind of thing can happen. You can also see fluctuations. Like, let's say your video is on YouTube for a year and it continues to get activity for that year. You'll see, if you go into your click-through rate, you're going to see fluctuations all over the place there also, where sometimes it'll be up, sometimes it'll be down. But just the general thing that typically happens is when you first publish a video, the people that are like a perfect candidate for that video are typically the people that see it first. That's why all of your metrics are typically inflated at that moment in time, and then they start kind of tapering off from there. I'm not saying they drop to the floor, but they're usually highest, when you first publish. But you can also have it to where it'll taper down, and then YouTube will also find that core audience. It'll bring everything back, those types of things too. But in terms of, is it specifically related to your type of content? Yeah, I'm sure it happens to, plenty of, content creators, but just the typical, pattern is that it is high when you first publish, when you don't have a lot of people interacting with it. I saw actually on Twitter, I think it might've been today, Renee Ritchie made a, really, really good way to explain this in a tweet. And he said that, if you like 30% of 100 is a lot less people than, 30% of 1,000 or 30% of 1,000,000, right? So because of that, when you start getting in front of more and more people, it can just kind of, push everything down. Shark Scrapper says he takes pride in being the problematic brother. Love it. C-Dub says quality matter or quantity of content, they both matter. So you want to make sure that you're publishing high quality content, for your viewers. High quality is deemed by how people are interacting with it. It doesn't mean your camera quality. It doesn't mean, anything like that. It means that when I publish videos, people are enjoying this at a competitive rate for the platform. That makes it high quality. So it might look like garbage, but as long as people are being entertained by it or whatever, that's the thing that matters. Like if they're watching that content, then it'll be fine. But when it comes to oh, sorry, that was the quote. I apologize about that. Yes, it's 3% of 1,000,000 is way more than 30% of 1,000. Yeah, sorry about that. I messed that up a bit there. But yeah, when it comes to like quality versus quantity, I got a full detailed video about that. I might have more than one, but yeah, like the days of just flooding YouTube with videos and winning because of brute force like that, those are long gone. They've been gone for a really, really long time. So now it comes down to the quality of your content. And one of the things that's awesome is if you put out really good videos, and this is going to be content dependent and stuff like that too. But if you put out really good videos, then you don't have to publish as much, because if you spend that extra time on the videos and people are really enjoying the videos because you've learned how to do that, then you can publish less and actually get better results than maybe a competitor that's just publishing content all the time, right? So like in my case, right, with my content versus like, let's say Ed from Film Booth, right? In his particular case, his content, typically does better with him doing like his full production content versus my content where I just, teach people stuff and I just like sit down and say the stuff and then show screenshots and things like that, because he tells stories and actually, puts content together in like a really entertaining way. He doesn't have to publish as much content as I do in order to have, similar thresholds. So, our stylistic choices of how we're doing things make it to where he doesn't have to, publish as much. I would venture to say, and I don't know this for sure, but I would venture to say that even when I publish more, I probably spend less time than him publishing the one. And that by itself explains why, he can publish less, right? So when it comes to quality or quantity, the thing that's important is how the viewers are responding to what it is that you're doing. And if you can get your content to a point to where it is deemed quality in the eyes of the viewer, and therefore it's deemed quality in the eyes of YouTube based on how people are responding to it, that is the point to where you can say, okay, now that I've got my content to this level, should I publish more? Should I do 2 videos a week instead of 1? Or instead of every 2 weeks, should I do a video per week? Then should I do 2 videos a week, or should I do 3 videos a week? That's where you start having that conversation. But the thing that's most important is the content has to be good enough that people respond to it in a positive way. When that happens, it is the keys to the kingdom, because when you can publish content that people respond to in a positive way, everything else happens, right? So that's the thing you got to focus on.
Super chat.
Rhea Torres says, do you think YouTube will still be alive and kicking 5 years from now, or do you see any kind of threat? I absolutely do. So for those of you that watched my last video that I published, where I was talking about YouTube, it just kind of seems that they're kind of eroding our way of, making money without them being involved. That particular video, I know it came across extremely negative, and I tried to, make it very clear in that video that I still have 100% faith in YouTube. I still believe the opportunity here as content creators is unprecedented, and I think it continues to increase in terms of our ability to, reach people and our ability to monetize and make names for ourselves and all the things that, people come to YouTube for. So I think that, in 5 years from now, I think that it's still going to be here. I think the viewers are still going to keep doing their thing. There's probably going to be a bunch of things that are going to happen between now and 5 years to where, there's going to be people like me and other content creators are going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe YouTube did this. And then there's going to be a bunch of people that are like, I don't care. I'm still just making videos, right? I'm still just doing my thing, staying in my lane, serving my audience, right? And the one thing that I've learned over time when it comes to YouTube is that, one, like when that video I published, the video about, the monetization thing, go watch it if you haven't yet. But like on that particular video, it was good for views and, the comments, like it really resonated with a lot of people. But the downside of that is it does have like a pretty negative kind of, thing. So for the people that didn't make it to the end, for those people, they might have left that video thinking like, maybe I shouldn't do this. And I've been thinking about that since I started seeing some of the comments. And I'm like, man, maybe I should take that video down, because I don't want to be that person that makes somebody think that the opportunity here doesn't exist or that they shouldn't pursue this, because you absolutely should. Like when it comes to YouTube, the impact that you can make here on yourself and others is absolutely staggering. And it's different when it comes to like TikTok and Instagram. Like you can still make impact there as well, but it's a totally different thing. So when it comes to long form content, and you might, look at this through like your own experience as well. But when it comes to long form content, you get to know people through long form content. When it comes to short form content or vertical content, that doesn't happen as much. Like there's a lot of content creators that I just happen to continue to watch on TikTok because TikTok keeps showing them to me. And same thing with YouTube Shorts. But a lot of them, I don't really think about I don't really think about much, about them or anything like that. I don't look forward to their next videos. But people on YouTube that I watch their long form content, I'm like, there's some people that I'm like, man, I can't wait for them to publish something else. Right. So it's just like the point of view, or not the point of view, but the connection that you can create on YouTube. You just can't beat it anywhere outside of being in person. Like just the connection here is just absolutely staggering. Now, I know like live streamers and stuff on Twitch, they can have similar experiences, Kick too. But when it comes to YouTube, like there's just nothing that matches this. In addition to the whole impact side and the opportunities that we have available, we also have the discovery side. So when it comes to TikTok, even though they're going after search and they're trying to kind of get their hands into this, when it comes to like TikTok and Instagram and everywhere else, it's very rare that you're going to put in a search term on Google and then you're going to see like a bunch of TikTok results about that, right? But when it comes to YouTube, if you're looking for anything, not anything, but if you're looking for most things and you search one of the textual search engines for it, you're going to see a bunch of YouTube videos there. So that's a traffic source, right? In addition to that, all the different things that they have on platform for, bringing attention to viewers in terms of people being able to search, them recommending your content to people in a bunch of different formats that you can tap into, to where like TikTok, for example, they've got live streaming and they have the content. On YouTube, you got live streaming, the content, shorts. You have, did I say live streaming? Live streaming, the content, the shorts, podcasts, YouTube music, if you're going to, tap into that side of things too. They used to have stories, but that's gone now. But like, just the opportunity here and the options that you have here, nothing else even remotely compares. So yes, other apps are growing fast and, all of that. But in terms of, the foundation that YouTube has, you just can't compete with it. Even like on TVs, right? Like somebody can watch somebody can watch YouTube anywhere or listen, right? Anywhere. When it comes to TikTok, you're usually doing that on your phone. Maybe you're going to do it on a computer, but the computer version sucks, just like YouTube Shorts sucks on a computer and on TVs. So when it comes to, and community posts, thank you. But when it comes to, the opportunity that we have here, like it just nothing even compares. Nothing compares. Yoga Bliss Dance is our next channel here. And let's see here. The type of channel is wellness and woo-woo for women. The goal of the channel is to get coaching clients. And the question is trying to pivot a bit to get women who can afford specific meditation coaching, especially professors, professionals. My views on old topics are down anyway. How to pivot gently. I get less views on topics that would help my biz, but that may be okay. Absolutely, that's okay. So when it comes to using YouTube for business, in that particular case, you absolutely and hey, I just saw your message here, Renee, saying appreciate the feedback as always. It's helpful. Creator success is a constant priority in every discussion. Yeah. So I appreciate that. Yeah, like for me, it was more about just kind of getting that off my chest and just kind of being like, I'm kind of noticing this and it's weird. So let's just kind of see if other people are feeling the same way. And I was actually kind of surprised by some of the comments in there. Some of them I'm like, yeah. And then other ones I'm kind of like, oh man, I hope that just didn't send the wrong message. But anyway, on the coaching clients thing, so absolutely. So if you're doing YouTube for business, it's a different approach than if you're doing it for, as a creator to grow like a big channel. So when you're doing YouTube for business, the thing that needs to be focused on is the right performance indicator. So when you are, trying to grow as a content creator and that's your thing, then you're focusing on like view counts and subscribers and maybe like CPMs, RPMs, that kind of stuff. So you can monetize what it is that you're doing through, that. But when you're doing it as a business, it's a totally different thing. So like you might publish a video that gets, 500 views on it that ultimately ends up driving more revenue through your business than a video that somebody that's taken the creator route and trying to do that you might generate more revenue from 500 views than somebody that gets 100,000 views a video in terms of the actual income generated from it. So because of that, you can absolutely do much better on smaller view counts. That does not mean that you shouldn't try to have larger view counts. But it means that, you don't have to take the same approach as somebody that's trying to, grow a YouTube channel for the sake of, growing a YouTube channel and having an audience and all of that stuff. So when it comes to targeting those people, I would definitely have those words in your title. So for example, like if you're doing like meditation coaching, then in that case, if you're targeting professors or just professionals, then I would say that right in your titles, meditation for professionals, meditation for, professors. Professors, I think, is getting a little bit too into the nuance there, because it basically takes the likelihood of somebody clicking on that video way down in terms of the amount of people that video would be relevant to. But when you're putting your content together and you have the 4 professionals in there, either in the thumbnail or as part of the actual title itself, I call that an audience identifier. And when I was showing those title screenshots before, that's one of the things that's actually in there. And I'll just show that again here real quick, just in case you didn't see it. But like, let's see here. Yeah, so here on that particular title, you would have been the identifier. So let me go up to another one. Yeah, so like right here, right? So if we look at this particular example here, and I do this, right? See if you can see that. And then the word nerd, I have the little bar pointing to that one saying that it's an audience identifier, right? So like in your case, since you're going after, professionals, then, having that language in your titles is definitely something that, can ensure that the right people are clicking on your content. So you can take another approach here, which this is your call to make and the thing that you want to participate or that you want to, just kind of consider. But there's the approach to where you do the audience identifier so that you only get the right people clicking on your content. And then therefore, because of that, when YouTube does show your content to people, you're increasing the likelihood that the right people are seeing it in terms of your customers, the people that will convert for you. Then there's the mass scale approach. The mass scale approach is, well, if I make general meditation content and then I start growing my influence around meditation content, a certain percentage of scale that are interacting with my channel, the scale of people, a certain percentage of them will be checking my description. They will be hearing my messages that I put out in my content here and there about me offering these services. And then those people are going to, hit me up for that. So basically you use scale as the filter in that particular case. So, you can take, different approaches when you are when you're doing it. But yeah, you can absolutely get away with getting less views on the content, as long as the content that you're making is converting, right? But yeah, in terms of, if you're pivoting towards the, professionals, and the professors, I would just start putting professionals in your titles as you're doing that pivot. And then that will help the right people, that are professionals that are into meditation. That'll help the right people click on what it is that you're doing. Hey, so I didn't mention this. I mentioned this in my streams yesterday that I did. But want to hear something that sucks that happened to me this week? So I did for Opus Clip, I did a webinar for them with Brian G. Johnson on Sunday. And basically it was a thing just talking about their summer affiliate push or whatever, where they're raising their commissions like 40% and all this other stuff. But during that stream, I had my camera on because I did it here, and I left it on since Monday. And then when I went to live stream yesterday, I went in there and I looked at it, and I fried my camera out. So basically now if I turn it on, it'll turn on for, 30 seconds, and then it'll shut down and say system error. So that's kind of where I'm at with my other camera right now, which is why you see this weird distortion. This used to be normal. Like all of my videos used to be shot with this, but that's why you see this weird distortion. Like when I put my hand out here, because this wide lens, it looks like my hand is like super big. And compare, like, look, it's like the size, it's the size of my head. It's actually bigger than my head to where the other one doesn't do that, as extreme. Yeah, it was a Sony, Andrew. But I'm taking it to the shop tomorrow, and then I'll get it fixed. It's not a big deal. But yeah, that's why, one, it's good to have a backup. Two, just be careful and make sure that you do put something to help you remember to turn your camera off. Let's see here. So next up, we've got Jennifer Ever After. They do a travel channel. The goal of the channel is resort tours. And the question is, I would like to go back to the basics of content creation. Is there a formula for what a good video should have in it? A good video should satisfy a viewer. A good video should hook a viewer as they come into the video. That can be done in a bunch of different ways, but a really easy way to do it is to simply tell people what it is that you're going to be, talking about or sharing or showing in the video, and if possible, attach something to it that might matter to them. So, for example, if you're going to be showing people an area, then the thing that you would attach, you would let them know, I'm going to be showing you, this area of whatever country or whatever. And then the thing that you would attach to it would be something like, so you can make sure that you go to the right places, or so you don't go to all these places that, that are going to waste your time or that aren't going to create a pleasant trip for you, or whatever the thing is. And then you get into the actual content itself, right? Those types of things. But basically you do that, you cut out any fluff in terms of anything that, wouldn't be relevant to the viewer, so that they can, just enjoy the entirety of the content without feeling like you're wasting their time. And then when the video comes to an end, you try to hand them off to another video on your channel through recommending the next video for them to watch. The way that you choose that video that they're watching is you think of the viewer, right? You always got to think of the viewer first. You think that, okay, if they're watching this video, then they're clearly interested in this particular thing, right? Or these particular things that are in this video. Therefore, this next video that I'm going to tell them to go watch, or let them know that is there if they want to go watch it, that particular video needs to be relevant to the interests of the people that came into this video. And as long as that is okay, then you're going to have a certain percentage of the people interacting with this video that are going to click on your end screen and then go and watch the next video. All right. Next up, I got a super chat here from Demon Dro. Thanks for that, man. Says, got a friend almost at 1 million doing shorts live. I know I could kill doing that, but long term, I don't want a bunch of vertical being pushed over long form. Is that a bad mentality? I don't think it's a bad mentality, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to secure what you have. And you're just trying to make sure that if you start going live vertically, that you're not going to mess any of that stuff up. So I understand the concern. One thing that, like what you're doing great right now. And, I think that a lot of what it is that you do is more based around, driving people like products and, like that sort of thing. At least that's kind of the perception that I get from just kind of looking through your stuff a little bit. So because of that, like, I think that the way that you're doing things is perfectly fine. But if you did want to try, vertical live shorts, it's definitely a way to get in front of a bunch of people that might not have ever seen your content. So it does give you that advantage. But what I would do is I would just pay really close attention to everything and make sure that as you start doing your, the vertical lives, like do one and then just pay attention to everything else. Make sure that, everything's fine. Publish another video. and then do another one, and just, make sure that everything is staying on track. If you find that it's not in any way, then that's where you start pulling back on doing that. And then you just keep focused on, the thing that's working. But experimenting with those types of features can definitely be advantageous. But, in your particular case, because you do have a different approach to what it is that you're doing, because yes, you're trying to blow up the channel, but you're also trying to, bring awareness to like all the cool stuff that you're making. So because of that, I would just, make sure that as you're venturing into that you're not just like, okay, now we're doing daily lives over there, but instead that you're like, okay, we're going to do it, monitor everything else, make sure we're on track, try another one, make sure everything stays on track, and just kind of rinse and repeat that process until you confirm that everything's fine moving forward. Marcus Jones in the house. What's up, my dude? Hope that you are doing fantastic. Nice to see you in here. Hope you're doing great. He also does content, by the way, just in case anybody here is not familiar with Marcus. He also does content that helps content creators as well. I'm just going to pin his name right here so you can see it right up here at the top of the chat. So if you're not subscribed to Marcus yet, definitely make sure that you go over there and check him out, because he puts out bangers on his channel. Let's see here. Next up on the list. Yeah, we had the opportunity to hang out at here in Chiang Mai. He came to Chiang Mai, so he had the opportunity to hang out here. Hey man, I don't know if you reached out to Internet Anarchist or not. I don't know if I'm allowed to say his name here like live, because I don't know if he hides that or not. But he reached 1 million subscribers on his channel. So I don't know if you noticed that or not, but just giving you the heads up just in case, so you can reach out and just throw that congratulations over there just in case. Open Air Outdoors is our next question. They do outdoors content. The goal of the channel is sharing my outdoor adventures. The question is, I see many channels in my niche putting out 3-hour plus videos, condensing / recycling old videos. Would it be a good idea condensing an entire playlist into one video? This is where the experimentation side of things, really comes into play. So those types of things, I know it's kind of like a trend right now. Like a lot of people are doing this. I know that YouTube was experimenting with a feature where they kind of did this themselves as well, to where it kind of like, it was like a live stream of all of your stuff. But I didn't see that get, kind of rolled out. So I'm not sure if that wasn't effective or if they, found something else, but you can try it, right? Put it together, put it up, and see if your viewers enjoy it. Because at the end of the day, all of the decisions that we make, right? All of the decisions that we make on our channels and all the experiments we run, those can sometimes open a really big door for us, right? To where it's like, oh, I just found something that people really like. Other times we put something out and then people are like, this is dumb. This isn't even like what I even come here for. And then we're like, oh, okay, maybe I need to kind of back out on that, a little bit and not do much of that anymore. But if you find that a lot of people in your space are doing that, then in that particular case, if it's working for them, there's a chance that it might work for you. So it might be something that you want to experiment with. Next, we got Marius Mathieu. I apologize if I'm saying that incorrectly. They do diverse content is the type of channel. The goal of the channel is to make money, buy a car and a house for me and my mom and sister. The question is, if I'm attracting wrong audiences, 65 plus ladies, should I continue to diversify content posted until I find a niche that I would love, or should I start a new channel? Okay, I'm going to look and see what it is that you're doing and make sure that I have clarity on what you mean by diverse content. Let's see here. Oops. So diverse content. So let's see what you got. Oh, it's in another language, so I'm not really sure. So it looks like I see like a Canva video here and then like a game video here. So right out of the gate, you are mixing audiences on your channel. This one looks like a film channel and then like an iPhone 16. Yeah, a food video. Yeah. So here's a best practice tip for you. So when it comes to YouTube, one thing that is a huge advantage to content creators is if you can define the very specific type of viewer that you're trying to reach and serve with your content and make sure that everything on the channel is a good fit for them, you're gonna win as long as you make good content. And the reason for that is based simply on how YouTube's recommendation system works. So how their system works is if people go into your channel and they really love your content and they enjoy with it and they engage with it, then YouTube's going to say, like, this person is satisfied with this content. They really enjoyed this. Therefore, this content creator that they responded well to, let's test some additional videos against that viewer. And then they're going to pick the videos on your channel that it thinks are, the best fit for them. And it's going to show them those videos. If those videos are in alignment with what it is that those people care about, again, you're going to pull them back in, right? If those videos are out of alignment, like for example, you have, like a video here on like food, it looks like, and football, and then another one on like Canva. In that particular, where you got Canva in the tutorial, I'm not sure what it is. Looks like something creator related. Then in that particular case, let's say that they watch your soccer video or your football video, and then they recommend that Canva video to the people that really enjoyed that. Well, in that particular case, you're kind of working against yourself because YouTube's trying to test YouTube's trying, right? The system's doing its job. But since you are mixing up content on your channel, if YouTube shows them that video and they don't respond well to that, and then they're like, hey, let's show them this other video, and it happens to be another video that's out of alignment with their interests, then they're not going to respond to that. And then they show them another one and they're not in alignment there, then their system is going to start to identify that, hey, when we're showing content to this particular viewer from this channel, they're just not responding to it. And therefore, we're going to stop recommending the content to them. So what happens there is just based on how their system works. If you just do content and you throw up videos that are just for a bunch of random type of viewers, then you kind of step in your own way when it comes to leveraging that system. But when you have a clear target viewer that you're trying to reach, and all of the videos on your channel get ran through a filter of, if I publish this video, or if I make this video and I publish it on this channel, will these viewers enjoy this based on my channel being about these very specific things? The answer is yes, you publish it and you make it and you publish it. If the answer is no, then in that case, you either put it on a different channel or you just don't make that video, right? The more tuned in you get to that, the better you're going to do long-term. And the more you're going to be able to rely on YouTube in terms of stability, right? Because when you mix things up like this, what you're doing is you're kind of, you become dependent on an occasional video popping. But then you break it because that video pops. And then when YouTube's trying to recommend other videos to those people that really enjoyed it, then you end up breaking everything there. And then you eventually have another video that pops, and then that whole thing just rinse and repeats. And you stay in this constant struggle of trying to break through versus, okay, I'm trying to reach people that are interested in soccer, right? Or maybe these soccer recaps or whatever it is that you're doing in the soccer content, or in food or making smoothies or whatever this protein smoothie thing is. I'm trying to reach people that are into like, health related stuff. Then in that particular case, somebody can go and they can watch one video on your channel. Let's say it's the football or soccer example. They go and they watch that video on the soccer related topic, and they're like, wow, this is great. And then they leave YouTube, and then they log into YouTube the next day, and YouTube's like, hey, here's another video from this channel. It's also a soccer video. And they're like, oh, hey, I watched that dude yesterday. And they click on that, and then they come in and watch that. And then, the viewer wins again and you win again. And then they're like, wow, I remember watching the video yesterday. I watched this video. Wonder what else they got. And they check out your channel. And then they go to either your channel page itself, or they go to your videos tab, and they're like, wow, they got I can watch all of these videos. And then they'll just start watching videos. Right. And then you win there as well. And that continues to train YouTube that particular viewer is really into what it is that you're doing. So when you start mixing up content for everybody here that is multi-passionate, and everybody here that is uploading a bunch of different types of videos targeted for different type of people on their channel, when you do that, you're working against yourself. If you get clear on who it is that you're trying to reach with your content, it makes things so much easier. But when it comes to this particular question, saying that you have 65-year-old ladies interacting with your content, and you are continuing to diversify your content, if it was me in that specific situation, because I looked at your views and everything, if it was me, I would start a new channel, but I would get clear on exactly what you're trying to offer from that channel, the brand that you're trying to build with that channel, if that's something you're trying to do, and exactly, here's the goal that I have for the channel for what I'm trying to accomplish. Here's the type of viewer that I'm trying to serve with this type of content. These are the things that they're interested in. These are the places they hang out online. These are the things they care about. These are the things they don't care about. These are the things that bother them. These are the things they get excited about. Like you just understand them as the best that you can. And then from there, you just start publishing content for that particular audience. And then from there, when you're looking at your analytics, this is another place this gets really important. When you're looking at your analytics and you're going into your videos and you're like, okay, how are people responding to this? The people that are responding to a food video are going to respond differently than the people that are responding to the soccer video, because they're two different types of viewers, right? This is something that I learned way back in the day when I started doing consulting. So like you have two different types of viewers, and they respond differently to two, different types of content. And of course, different viewers respond differently to the same content as well, but it's exaggerated, so to speak, when it comes to the different, content types. So because of that, you might be making decisions for your entire channel, and the decisions that you're making when you're putting your videos together for the people that are interested in food, when really the people that you're trying to, or the decisions that you should be making around the, the content you're publishing should be around what's happening on the soccer or the football content, right? So when it comes to targeting a specific audience, it keeps your stats clean. It makes sure that your channel's bingeable, and it makes it super easy for YouTube to understand who your content is for and recommend your content to the right people, so you can continue to thrive for a long period of time. All right. I did not mean to hit that one. I meant to hit this one.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
All right. Next up on our list, we've got, okay, we did that one already. Next up, we've got Vault Dwellers Unite. They do a gaming channel around the Fallout games. The goal of the channel says, I want to be able to play my favorite game series as long as possible. And the question is, I'm a gaming YouTuber, and I feel that everyone says the space is oversaturated. I've been helping my friend in his gaming channel, and we find it's doing well. Why are people saying this? Is it just because his channel is established, or is it a lack of understanding what I'm getting myself into? So when it comes to this, Roberto, Blake, and myself have been trying to share this same message for quite some time now. When it comes to saturation, everything is saturated down here, right? When you start making content that's competitive, it starts getting less saturated. And the cause of this is that in order to go from here to here, in terms of, everything that's happening on your channel, it's likely that you're going to be taking actions that a lot of people are not willing to take, that all these people here are not willing to take. So that's going to get you to here. And then in order to go from here to here, you're going to need to take additional actions that other people are not willing to take. So for example, a lot of the advice that I give, that Marcus gives, because, Marcus is in here, that other people who make, content like this, that we give, a majority of the viewers that watch all of our videos, for everybody that makes content like this, for everybody that, that watches YouTube's videos on how to do stuff, a majority of the people don't take action on those things. And it's because they're busy, right? It's because it's not a priority. It's because, it's challenging, and they would just rather spend that energy on something else, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But a majority of the people, out of all the views that you see on all of our channels, a majority of the people, they don't take the action on the stuff. But for those are the ones that are, here. So for the people that do take action, and they start taking, action on all of the stuff that they hear, those are the people that, start kind of coming out of that noise. And then as they continue to grow and they continue to analyze and, modify based on the things that they learn when they're analyzing everything, and then apply, all the new stuff, then, they continue to, kind of keep inching up. And then the next thing you know, the only competition they have is the other big peers that they have in their space, right? The other people that are willing to do the things that all the people here are not. So when it comes to that side of things, in order to, reach those points, like for example, there's been multiple times during the stream today where I've looked at channels and they're making content about a bunch of different things. Out of all of the live streams that I've done like this, I've looked at a lot of those channels. Out of all the streams I've done here and on other channels where I look at channels and, all that stuff, out of all of those, a very small percentage of those people, when you go and you revisit their channels, and I'm not saying that this is going to happen with the ones that I pulled up today, but a very small percentage of those channels will actually say, you know what? Yeah, let me start making content for a specific group of people. Instead, they just want to continue doing what they want to do, which is just uploading a bunch of content about the things that they care about, right? Just a bunch of different things that they're interested in, which is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if they make that slight move, that right out of the gate is going to take them just a little bit higher out of the noise than the people that are just going to upload whatever it is that they want without really caring about, like serving anything with a viewer or anything like that, right? That will instantly bring them up just a little bit because they're willing to do that one thing, which is I'm going to focus my content on a particular type of viewer that's interested in very specific things, right? So the difference is your friend that has 17,000 subscribers, they probably got there because they are, they're paying attention to what's going on. They're probably staying on top of the game so that they can do updates and things on what's happening. They're paying attention to how their viewers are interacting with what it is they're doing, and they're trying to modify things in order to make it better. They're trying to get better at making videos. They're trying to get better at their ideas and trying to get better at making thumbnails and titles and packaging everything up. That's probably why they got to 17,000 subscribers, unless they were just doing it with shorts. They're doing it with shorts. Then in that particular case, they, made engaging shorts that people enjoyed enough to subscribe as well. And that helped them, get the subscriber count there. So when it comes to saturation and things being overcrowded in niches, it usually happens because there's a lot of people that try YouTube. But in terms of the people that, end up with getting, real results in terms of reaching goals that they have, that particular group, it starts getting lower and lower in terms of percentages as you keep climbing through the ranks in terms of the activity that you're getting on your stuff and the channel growth and all of that. Let's see here. Yeah, and Jerry mentioned another thing too. He said it's also because they don't want to take the time, or they don't take the time to think about how the advice applies to them. Yeah, there's that problem too. And I'm not going to dump on anybody, because we all do this stuff for different reasons. So I'm not being negative here. I'm just saying just kind of from experience that the difference is that everything's saturated here, and then the higher up you go, then that's why in every niche there's just a handful of like large channels, right? And then everything else. From there, it's all people trying to become those channels, and then they bottom out at that line that they're not willing to cross, right? That's where they bottom out at, or top out at. Let's see here. So I'll get off of that rant. So next up, we've got the FPGA Masters. They do tech educational content. The goal of the channel is to explain how FPGA is done in industry. And the question is, with a couple of guys from work, we plan to make a channel where we would explain how FPGA development is done in the industry. FPGA is a kind of chip which is programmed like software but behaves like hardware. So working with it requires special skills. My research shows that most channels only show the topic based on amateur projects because the software and hardware used in the industry easily costs $10,000. And more just to start, if you can even buy it. I'm thinking to start with a series where we go through a project explaining how it's all done, but still understandable and entertaining. How would you proceed with a new channel in a specialized tech niche? I already have 2 channels. Okay. So the reason probably that people go with the amateur side is because that content is more reality for a majority of people. If the entry cost is $10,000 to talk or to get into what it is that you're talking about. So the approach that I would try to make is that I'm trying to bring attention to the project and get people interested in the project more than trying to necessarily like solve problems that people are having. So like with the thing where you have a lot of people that can do it on the amateur side, they can just solve problems, tell people how to like, fix certain things, stuff like that. And they can get around it that way and get traffic that way. With you're going to have a lot less people for that. So because of that, you could still resonate really well with the people that do, that can get into that content. But if I was starting a channel around it, I would try to generalize it in some way. And what I mean by that is if you are very specific about the tech itself, then in that particular case, I mean, you might have to be, I'm not sure. But if you are very specific about the tech itself, then that's going to alienate a large amount of people. But if you can make it more about the project or maybe what the tech accomplishes, and then talk about like how you're using the tech and, things like that, then in that particular case, that might open it up to more people. Without having more information, this is just kind of brainstorming on it. But that might open it up to more people if you take that particular approach versus talking very specifically about that. Other things can happen too. So like as an example, like on the gaming side. So I had a friend of mine that started a channel around like Marvel, the mobile Marvel game. And there was a competitor there. I think it was the mobile Marvel game. But there was a competitor in the space that was just some rich guy that all he was doing was basically opening these like prizes. And you had to pay for these prizes or you had to grind like crazy to get them. And then when you open these prizes, sometimes they would be something like valuable or super important inside. I can't remember the full details, but basically this person was spending substantial amounts of money, or maybe they were a dev there. I'm not sure how they actually got the things that they got, but they're spending, what they were doing was extremely expensive and alienated tons of people. However, because of the game, there were a lot of people that were interested in the game that then translated to them being super interested in that. And his channel grew really fast because they were just blown away that this dude was spending all this money, and they were interested in seeing what this person was getting out of these, prizes, because, in order to get these prizes, you had to grind like a lot in the game, or spend substantial amounts of money, which is what this guy was doing. So because of that, because of the popularity of the game itself, it allowed that to transition out into like he was spending tons of money for this thing that most people aren't able to do, and that by itself made that interesting. But in your case, what it is that you're talking about is already kind of limited in terms of the amount of people that are doing it in the first place, and then you're going to take that and you're going to lower the amount of people that content is interesting to even more, right? By the price tag. So because of that, I would try to generalize it more and try to maybe make it more about the project, or make it more about, what the technology can do. And then use that as an opportunity to talk about what it is that you're doing and how you're doing it and all that stuff. Just to try to widen it up so that it topically, so that it could have the potential to be of interest to more people. So that would be the next thing that I would start researching, is like, how do I widen that up in terms of, different ways that I might be able to, make it more of an interest to just a larger group of people. So hopefully that was helpful. Next up, we got Build and Fix It with Mooney. What's going on, man? Hope you're doing great. It's a DIY woodworking and home improvement channel. The goal of the channel is to share, teach, and have fun. The question is, I just did a total rebranding of my channel and channel name and channel over the past few days. After 1 year on YouTube, the foundation is still woodworking, but my passion is to help the DIYer around their home. I knew this from the start of the channel, but I wasn't sure how to do it. After rebranding my channel, it lifted a ton of pressure off my back, and now will be easier for me to publish content and have more fun. Thanks for all of your help and clarity. Any thoughts? I think it's fine. I saw the name change, when you were in here. I think the name change is perfectly fine. And I think that the build and fix side also just kind of represents what it is that you're doing. So all of that I think is fantastic. And I think that most importantly, it's good that you've just gotten clear on that. And you're like, okay, this is exactly what I'm trying to do. This is, how I'm going to be presenting this. This is who it is that I'm after. I think that is, the most important part of that. Next up, we've got Explore Norway. Explore Norway does travel advice. Norway is the type of channel. Goal of the channel is to help tourists with their Norway journey. And the question is, I'm going through my stats. I see that my channel is mostly watched by men, 70% and more. How can I make it more appealing to women, as I see an equal amount of male and female tourists when making my videos? So if you have a majority of men watching your content, it could be because they are just watching more videos like that compared to women. It could also be that the specific topics that you're talking about Norway are of more interest to men than they are to women. So if you are trying to, make content specifically for women just for the sake of getting that, demographic a little bit more balanced, which is something you don't have to do. I mean, if you want to, you can, but it's not, requirement in any way. then in that particular case, maybe making some videos about, things for women to do in Norway. Is Norway safe for women? Like those types of topics to where, more women will click into those videos. Some, men will as well, because if they're, going there with their significant other, then in that particular case, that might be something that they would watch as well. But you'll probably have more women, interacting with that content. So because of that, literally saying, with the content itself that it's for women, is, something that you can do to, try to balance those out a little bit if that's something that you're trying to do. Let's see here. Next up on the list, we're on 32, crushing through these today. Christy Codovan is our next question here. They do educational content. Goal of the channel is tutorials on various video editing and podcasting apps. The question is, I'm diversifying my content type. I used to do just regular videos, but now I'm doing shorts, a podcast, also diversifying my content into collateral topics. Is that too much? Is it too diluted? Should I not put all types of content on the same channel? Yeah, that's good too. The biggest lies about Norway for women. Yeah, anything, to where you're just directly targeting them. That's just a good way to get them clicking on it. Like the actual meat of the content itself. And also just when you're titling everything up and things like that, it just makes it, easier, because then when you throw that for women in there, then they know it's for them, right? All right, so let's see here. So the question here was about diversifying your content type and how you used to do regular videos, but now you're doing shorts, and that you're putting your content into collateral topics. So a couple things that I see here is I see that you have a bunch of videos about Descript. I see you've got Camtasia, more Descript stuff. Oh, dude, you know what? I watched one of your videos on, I see you in the thumbnail here. I recognize it from the thumbnail. Yeah, I watched one of your videos. Did I subscribe? Nope, didn't subscribe. Sorry, didn't subscribe. But yeah, I watched one of your videos on Camtasia, or maybe I saw it in search when I was making mine. Can't remember. I think I watched it. If it's showing up in search, then I'm looking for the red line here. But maybe I didn't watch it. Maybe I just saw it. But yeah, I recognize your face. But yeah, so here you're talking about creator focused things here. Descript, Camtasia. You have one up here about growing an educational channel where you interview, another content creator. Your value prop here is video editing tutorials, design, learning, and development tools, desktop publishing, and a bunch of other, products that you have listed. So I think you're okay here. I think you've probably went a little bit too hard consistently on Descript, which can be fine. But I think you went a little bit too hard consistently on that, which is fine. But if you are trying to, reach this particular crowd, then I think you're on the right path for that. But one thing that I would definitely try to work in here somewhere is when it comes to Camtasia, it's an amazing tool, but in terms of the amount of people using it compared to other products, it's a much smaller amount. When it comes to Descript, same thing. It's like a certain, certain uses there, and it's also a smaller amount. I mean, lots of people use both products, but I would also mix in like mass appeal products, like like Adobe Premiere and that kind of stuff as well. Since you are talking about a lot of tool related things, maybe do some general content also about like tool lists and that kind of stuff. Maybe talk about some AI stuff, because that's all trending right now. And it's just kind of easy to get views on that, because not all, like for example, Camtasia, since Camtasia was invented, there's been people making videos about it. So because of that, YouTube has a huge library of Camtasia videos. When it comes to like AI related stuff, even though there's a lot of videos about it, it just kind of, there's not a lot in comparison to a lot of the other, stuff that's out there. So there's a lot of opportunity, just talking about AI stuff right now. So I would definitely, kind of work some of that stuff in there too, which I know Descript has, and I know that you have some videos on that. But yeah, I think what you're doing is okay. But the one thing that works against you here, because you do go so hard on a topic, right? Like you go hard on a software. I'm actually just going to pull this up really quick, and I hope this is okay to do this, but I'm just going to do it anyway. So since we're looking at it, it'll just be helpful for everybody to just kind of see what we're talking about. So my goal is to bring back every funny reference from previous minute streams. So here, let me go here. Yeah, so right here, right? You see how you have this like huge list. I can't even like use this to circle them all because they're all there, but you have this huge block of Descript content, right? And then here you've got like this, a couple of Camtasia videos, then going hard into Descript again, then Camtasia, and then going hard into Descript again. So just a little bit of a problem that you might run into here is YouTube system is smart enough to where they're probably recommending, like if somebody's watching this, they're probably going to recommend them this, they're probably going to recommend them this, but they might throw this stuff in there from time to time too. But because you're going so hard on putting out these series on, these specific tools, I think it's what I would recommend is I would kind of mix it up a little bit to where it's like, okay, I'm going to do like a Descript video, then I'm going to do a Camtasia video, then I'm going to do another tool, then another tool, then another tool. And you just kind of do that kind of thing. So you become like a resource for tools, unless you just want to be known as Camtasia and Descript, but I don't think you are based on what your About Me page says, which is you're featuring Camtasia, Descript, Premiere, After Effects, Graphic Design, X Designer, Pro Affinity, and all that stuff. So basically, if your promise is that you're making content, all that, then kind of alternating between those, I would even get as specific as like, okay, either this week or this day, I do the, a Camtasia video. Then on these days I do Premiere. Then on this day I do this, and just kind of rotate through them that way. But another thing that can be powerful, like you see Daniel Batal, if you're familiar with him, you see him doing this, but basically he built an entire channel just on Filmora. And then when he had his issue with Filmora, then he transitioned to DaVinci Resolve, to where the only thing he makes content about is DaVinci Resolve. Now, in both of those cases, Filmora is like a cheap software, so there's a lot of users. DaVinci Resolve is free, so there's a lot of users there as well. So, at scale, those are both really good moves. But having an entire channel is like the one thing can be beneficial, or making yourself a resource to where every time you publish a video, your audience is like, oh, I wonder what he's going to talk about here. Then, that can be advantageous too. But the downside that I believe that you're probably going to run to over time is like when you have a bunch of videos on Descript and then a bunch of videos on Camtasia, then you have a bunch of videos even on like Adobe Premiere and then like all these other tools. As people are coming into your channel, it might be a little bit difficult when YouTube's recommending content to those people, to where, like, for example, because you have Camtasia in here and it's a video editor, and you also have Descript in here, which also does video editing, then in that particular case, like if they've already got Camtasia, then they might not necessarily need Descript, or they might not necessarily need Premiere or any of the other things. So because of that, as YouTube's recommending your content, you might end up working against yourself there, right? So like if I was trying to get this channel to move based on what you currently have, I would start talking about, at least as some of the content, I would start listing out like doing list videos of like different, tools to accomplish different tasks, or, bringing attention to just like different lists of tools and that kind of stuff, to try to have some of your content that is just going out to just more of a general audience. So you can also start creating a segment of your audience that is just interested in like those lists and all the different things that you bring attention to, versus I'm trying to fix this problem in Descript, or I'm trying to learn how to do this in Camtasia, right? I think that would give you the opportunity to create more viewers that are interested in just like all the topics that you're talking about, or at least segmenting them. So basically, and I'm saying all this off the top of my head, so think this through. But basically, like the long play on this would be that you're making these list videos, and you're making these videos about like 3 things that will help you do this, or 3 tools for editing videos, or the best video editors, whatever. Like those. And you start making those lists, that starts creating the audience that's interested in all those different products. And then you stem off from that to make individual playlists for each individual product that you're talking about. So basically you're using the list to curate the audience for the tutorials that you're creating. That would be the long play, right? So I would just think about it, like that. And I would really sit down and work that through, because I'm just doing this like on the fly while we're live streaming. But I would definitely sit down and just kind of work that through, what that would look like. But I would try to think of something that would be the catalyst for like a returning viewer, a returning general viewer, and then stem from whatever that is into the individual playlist that you're doing for the search-based content that you're putting together here. That would be an approach to consider if I was trying to get this channel moving more, I should say. All right. So next up on our list, good question. We've got English Fun Zone. English Fun Zone does English as a second language content, gold channels, fun English videos, and to make moolah. And the question is, how do you get merch to your live stream viewers? I have a book and a t-shirt from 2 different shops. I want to package them together and send a package to the subscriber, but it would be from my home address. How do you do this? I wouldn't do that. It's too much work. Too much work on your part. One of the beauties of YouTube, right? Because you said, how would I do it, right? So yeah, everything that you do, in my opinion, you should try to do it to where it's handled. So for example, like when it comes to the merch, if you want to buy my book, you buy it here. If you want to buy the shirt, you buy it here, right? Or if you can find one place that you can deliver both. So for example, you can sell your book as a print on demand directly off of Amazon, and Amazon also has merch. So they could put both of those in their cart if you had links going to both. Then that would also get you cookied in for sending them over to Amazon, where you might be able to make some additional affiliate money on those on those paths as well. So so because of that, yeah, I would definitely not do that. But when it comes to, oh, you're doing a giveaway. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay, you're doing a giveaway. Okay. Yeah, so if you're on a giveaway, then you would have the books, you would have the merch. Instead of having it come from your home address, I would get a PO box, just because like you're probably going to be okay. Some people even put their home addresses in their video descriptions, right? But I'm just weird about that kind of thing because I've had some just weird interactions. So because of that, I wouldn't do that. Instead, I would at least give some type of distance between, your home address and yourself, and the next thing there would be like a PO box of some kind or some type of mail service in your area. So you can just take it there, drop that off, and then the return address there would be that particular location. That would be the approach that I would take, just to create that one level of that address separation, just in case you get either the super fan or you get the one that's a little bit off. I would take that approach. And what I mean is, like, for example, like I had somebody one time figure out my Skype, and then they just started like randomly calling me all these weird hours in the morning. Then I would like wake up and answer the phone, and they'd be like, "Hey, is this Nick Demo?" Like, yeah. And they're like, "Oh my God." And they would like just that whole thing. I've had a couple of just kind of weird interactions in person that were just a little bit uncomfortable, and then I had a person that was a regular in these live streams. This is a few years ago, but a person that was a regular in this live stream, that anytime somebody would super chat, they would go to their channel and harass them. I mentioned clients in a live stream one time, and they went and harassed that client and tried to like get that client to like stop working with me and things like that. People can just go way more than than you anticipate. So because of that, I would just try to create those layers of protection, for your home address, because you don't want somebody showing up at your front door, right? So I would try to do that sort of thing if you can. But Ninja Monk, thanks for super chat. Man, I gotta get better at switching this back. I'm kind of out of practice over here. Okay, so Ninja Monk says, can I set a video to not be recommended? I don't want old live streams recommended. Unfortunately, no. That would be a fantastic feature. Renee, if you're still here, that would be a great little checkbox. I'm in the same boat. So I just went through. If you look at my social blade, you'll see like I was like boom in terms of view counts. I deleted, I think it was like 1.5 million views off of my channel, because I went through and cleaned out a bunch of live streams, because I was visiting a friend, and they pulled up my channel, or not pulled up my channel, they pulled up YouTube, and they got recommended one of my old live streams. And I was like, uh-oh. So I just went through and I just deleted a bunch of old live streams. But that would actually be fantastic. Like, yeah, you could set them as unlisted and put them in a playlist. Absolutely. Yeah, that would be one way to still give access to them, to keep them in that playlist. I just deleted them in my case. But yeah, having something to where like you wanted it public on your channel, but you just don't want YouTube recommending it, like that would be amazing. Just to have that checkbox, like that would be absolutely fantastic to have that. Because then you wouldn't have to unlist it. You could still leave it public on your channel for the people that wanted to watch it, where they didn't have to like try to find it that way. Or if they just ran across it on your channel for the people that are already engaged in what it is that you're doing, and then just YouTube, wouldn't recommend that content. Like that would be great. So then you could have a live stream. You could let it run its original cycle. Like for me, it's about, a week or 2 weeks. Let it, run that cycle. And then after that cycle is over, then just go in and hit that checkbox to limit it. That would be great. Or, I mean, if we really want to make it hard, So have a checkbox and then have it to where you can kind of sunset the recommendation. So you can say on this day, stop, recommending this particular video. Oh God, that would be absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, so next up, see now when it comes to so basically the UI. So the UI would be easy in terms of the function. I'm not sure, but the UI, you would just need a checkbox, and a date. So basically, just like you have the, checkboxes for the AI content and, all that stuff. Just on the video details page, it would just be stop recommending this video. And then you could just check that box, or you could do it, stop recommending the video on this day, so that they could, select a specific date that they want it to stop being recommended. That would also be great for people that do like, promotional things as well. So like, I know a lot of people, they'll use like their YouTube channels as like webinars and stuff like that, to where, they'll have like this event type of thing. But then after that event's over, that video just continues to get, recommended for a little bit, to where they're like, hey, we just want this to stop after like 2 days. And then it just kills it. And then that would also, like, in terms of like selling this idea, that would also help kind of I'm not going to say clog, because, it's not clogged, but that would also just kind of reduce the inventory in the recommendation system, to make sure that the content that is being recommended is also, the content that the creators, still want recommended. So even with that, like, in my particular case, we have Renee Ritchie in here, Ninja Monkey. He works with YouTube. He's YouTube's creator liaison, which is basically, he's the middle person between us and YouTube. So when it comes to ideas like this, like, he's hearing your idea right now, like as I'm saying all this. But basically, you can also, tweet at him on Twitter. So if you go and you look for YouTube Creator Liaison on Twitter, follow him over there. You can also tweet to him and other YouTube, people as well, when you have ideas like this. But basically, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, but that would basically like clear up that inventory, and then that would also, man, there was another thing too that I just thought of before I saw that comment. Yeah, so sunsetting them. And then, yeah, so having the recommendations, oh yeah, that was the thing. So another thing would also be like, let's say that you are somebody that's doing tech content, or you're somebody that's doing tutorial content, and whatever it is that you're doing a tutorial about, they update. So I know that we can have the update thing in the YouTube cards, but having it to where it's like, okay, this isn't even available anymore. So since YouTube is still recommending it, people are still watching it. Instead of unlisting it and kind of losing, that activity, or losing the views and stuff, I can just hit not recommend this anymore. And then that way it would ensure that, when people are getting recommended stuff, that it's like current and all that stuff for the creators that would go through the process of doing that. So yeah, I think that would be a really awesome feature. Love that idea. Yeah, and I would think that would also kind of make things cleaner. I don't know if it'd mess things up, because I know it is an ecosystem. So since it's an ecosystem, I don't know if somebody checked that box, that would kind of complicate things and cause like ripples and whatnot. But from the creator side, like, that would just be an awesome feature. So Rhonda's Lovely Sparks, they do Apple, iPad, and HP all-in-one desktop. Oh, never mind, that's what they make it on. Type of channel is movie and cartoon vintage commercials. The goal of the channel is to be able to reach more people. Question is, how does my YouTube channel look for you after a year upgraded my banner? So I'm not looking at channels right now during this stream. But on that note, I do want to let everybody know that I do have helpful tools and resources for you down in the video description. You can also go to bestcreatortools.com to see a bunch of, helpful tools for you that I have over there. But I do also want to let you know that if you are a content creator that's just getting started with all this, or maybe you are at a place right now to where you're just like, man, I don't know how much longer I can do this if I don't start getting, more activity on my videos. I just want to remind you that, when it comes to YouTube, it's a learning curve, just like anything else that you're going to do. So because of that, when you run into these blocks to where you hit these places where like, man, no matter what I do, I just can't break past this point. I just can't get past more than 100 views or more than 1,000 views, depending on, where you're at. Then, instead of looking at it like, like you can't do it, or instead of looking at it like YouTube is working against you or the algorithm's broken or anything like that, look at it like there's more that you need to learn, and there's more that you need to learn about your audience, and there's more that you need to learn about putting videos together, because all of this stuff is difficult. It takes a lot of time. I don't know if you're in here earlier, but if you were, I showed Mr. Beast, who is the largest creator on the platform right now, and I went through his video archive and I showed how when he started, all of the different changes that he went through in his thumbnails, his titles, how he does everything on the channel, and how he got, how he wasn't confident enough to be on camera, and then he got confident enough to be on camera, and then he went through there, and then now he's the biggest content creator on YouTube. But it took him a bunch of years just to get through all of the entry-level beginner stuff that everybody struggles with when it comes to YouTube. And he was obsessed at the time, trying to make it all work, but still it took him tons and tons of videos to get there. But now, because he saw it through, he's the biggest channel on the platform. So the message I'm trying to share is, if you're stuck, if you are discouraged right now, you've got this. You just have to learn your way through and apply your way through whatever roadblocks it is that you're running through in terms of, getting to that next particular, step that you're trying to reach. So hang in there. You got this. I'm going to be live streaming again next Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern. My brother will be there for that one. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for spending your time here. I really appreciate it. And again, please, if you are hanging out in the live stream, I know some people hang out for the entertainment. Some people, hang out because they're trying to, get better results on their videos. If you're on the side where you are trying to get, better results on your videos, spend the time between now and the next live stream. Just pick one thing from this live stream, right? Just pick one thing and be like, okay, he was talking about this. Let me see if I can, go into analytics and learn a little bit more about that. Or let me see if I can use that audience retention report that he was talking about to, go and look across a bunch of my videos so that I can learn more about the people that are interacting with my content and the things that they like and they don't like. Like, just pick something and try to apply it between now and when we meet up next Saturday. So thank you so much for hanging out. And I will see you next time. Have a great weekend.